Man, I cannot catch a fucking break with a bad sleep. Jesus Christ. What's up? Why am I so tall in the frame? Am I? No, that doesn't feel right. Maybe? You need to go take a nap right now. Taking naps doesn't make anyone feel better, okay? Nobody benefits from naps, all right? Maybe people benefit from laying down for a little bit, but not from naps. Why is your hair wet? I don't know. Maybe there's something that I do every single morning, literally, like now for thousands of times before stream, that makes my hair wet. You know, you really have to think about it. Also, I put hairspray on. I'm once more requesting that you talk about Jonathan Glazer. I don't trust anybody whose last name is Glazer. What are you glazing exactly? Other men? What is this? Why can't I copy the... Okay, copy. There it is. Huh. Must have fat-fingered it. Jewish stars denounce Jonathan Glazer Oscars speech. Da-da-da-da. Ah, yeah, this one. I saw this. Yeah, I heard the pro-Palestine speech. It was pretty milquetoast, but even that's enough, you know? I did see somebody saying, apparently, that in this big open letter denouncing his speech, one of the people was like a SAG-AFTRA member who named themselves From the River to the Sea or something like that. Like, it's just an open letter. Anyone could sign on to it. Is a comb in argon oil too much to ask? What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, yeah, there you go. The letter is a simple Google form that does not confirm or ask for proof that the signers are Jewish creatives or professionals. One of the signers listed by Variety is a SAG-AFTRA member named River to the Sea. Nice. Just a open Google Doc, huh? That's the effort we're putting into promoting the Zionist agenda here. That's the how hard we're willing to try. Okay. Very nice. In his controversial remarks on stage accepting the award for Best International Feature, Glazer connected his Holocaust film with the crisis in Gaza, saying, "Our film shows where dehumanization leads at its worst. It's shaped by all of our past and present. Right now, we stand here as men who refute their Jewishness and the Holocaust being hijacked by an occupation which has led to conflict for so many innocent people." True. Pretty true. We refute our Jewishness being hijacked for the purpose of drawing a moral equivalence between a Nazi regime that sought to exterminate race people and an Israeli nation that seeks to avert its own extermination. You know, those goddamn Palestinian babies, if only they weren't threatening the demise of Israel, they wouldn't have to do what they're doing. You should watch the actual speech. Ah, yes, the Oscar speech. I'm sure I'll get away with showing some of that. It's 30 seconds long. Why do you, Rave Dubin, you've been here for years. You really think YouTube Content ID can't, you, the first time I got fucking exiled to D Live was because of 8 seconds of a clip from an anime that I was talking over. It's the Oscars. They've got a JDAM targeted at me, like right now, just for talking about it. The use of words like occupation to describe an indigenous Jewish people defending a homeland that dates back thousands of years. Ah. Nice. You can't say you're indigenous to Israel when so many people there now literally moved over from fucking Brooklyn. Okay? You can't, like, There have been Jewish people there for ages, yeah, but you can't pretend that means every Jewish person is indigenous. That's not how indigeneity works. The Palestinians were indigenous there, then you kick them all out in the Nakba, and now the second Nakba. Like some are, some are immigrants. I saw a discourse about this on Twitter, and I want to be clear about this, okay? Nobody belongs to a thousands-year-old civilization, all right? Nobody does. There's not a single human on Earth who does. Like, human culture changes constantly. There is no, like, continuity. You have more in common with every living person on Earth right now than you do the average person of your, like, descendant ethnic group 4,000 years ago. There's just no, it's ludicrous. Like the myth of the continuity of ethnic civilization is just as poisonous as the myth of nationality leading to some kind of shared identity. It's totally nonsense, you know? Vosh, that's not true. I am a time traveler. Well, I suppose there are always exceptions. Leftists do this with indigenous people as well. Leftists have a tendency to treat indigenous people like fucking elves, you know? Like they were some kind of noble savages who looked over the land like a fucking druidic circle, and they'd continued in their traditions for billions and billions of years until white people came over with their gunpowder or whatever, you know? Like it's literally like the Tolkien humans versus elves thing where the elves are so tied to the land they can't like deal with the fact that humans are rapidly industrializing and changing. It's literally that, except they apply it to Native American people. They're just people. You telling me that Native Americans are not all wood elf shaman? I'm telling you that if we had like there was like one set of different circumstances where I don't know the Aztecs had figured out like proper metallurgy and gunpowder 100 years earlier, then we today would all be speaking their language up here in North America, and Europe would be like a collection of colonized like local indigenous white Europeans living under the rule of a bunch of what skin tone were the Aztecs? They were pretty white. They weren't like white white, but they weren't super dark skin, right? Because they were pretty close to the not sure. There's just paintings of them, really. There are reasons that was much less likely to happen, but yes. Yeah, yeah, but those reasons weren't like cultural. The Aztecs were just as warlike as any European power. They just, did it in their own way. I think the Aztecs looked like Southern Italians. All brown people look like Italians, because Italians are kind of like the brown people. That's why they were so bad in their multiple campaigns in Northern Africa. They couldn't dare to lift a finger against their own. That was the problem with Mussolini sending Italians to Ethiopia. They climbed the mountain and they saw their kin. They saw other dark skinned people and they're like, "What? How can I how can I fight you?" They climbed and they said, "Hey, my brother?" Basically, Spain was only able to oust the Aztecs because of a huge uprising of the Aztecs. Yeah, literally, the only reason the conquistadors were able to do anything to the Aztecs is because when they got there, they found like 50 million small like civilizations that were like, "Hey, we really fucking hate the Aztecs, by the way." Everyone hated them. They were insane. I love it. I love that for them. There were also like a few hundred at most. Yeah, not defending what the conquistadors did, but can you imagine how bomb that must have felt from their perspective to show up in the New World in their plate armor, just a few hundred of them, and over the course of several years engage in this like protracted, like long con that eventually ends up taking down the dominant empire in the region? Some fucking infiltration shit. Video game main character territory right there. Yeah, yeah. Most indigenous people in the New World died from disease. XCOM, but you are an underdog colonizer? Yeah. I don't think like the downfall of the Aztecs is that big of a deal morally speaking. The main issue is just all the context around it. The Aztecs were pretty fucking evil, and so were the Spaniards, you know. If things had gone the other way around, where like a crack team of Jaguar warriors had made their way to Spain and somehow ended up collapsing the Spanish Empire, I don't think any lefties today would be like, you know, bemoaning it that much. The main issue is the whole, you know, subsequent genocide of the continent thing. That was the bad part, I think. I think that's bad, personally. Examining my priors, I think it's bad to genocide an entire continent of people. Two continents, actually. Oh, I am out of focus. Sorry, I bumped the camera and had to readjust the lens there before I started stream. There we go. Let's not underestimate how many native people died to alcoholism. Well, yeah, but that was later. The conquistadors got ridiculously lucky. Hey, listen, okay? Sometimes fortune favors the bold. Excuse me. I will say this much though, okay? I feel like I feel like the Aztec versus Spaniard divide is indicative of the general desoulment of white people as history has gone on, okay? Because both of them were monstrously warlike, but Europeans have gotten more depersonalized and industrial with their genocides over time, like the Belgians in the Congo or whatever. Whereas for the Aztecs, it was like, no, you will personally go out and club an enemy warrior, and we will sacrifice them on a big, like, you know, stone thing. That's way cool. That's way cooler. You know, Christians are always getting their you know, bees in their bonnet with like, oh, they did human sacrifice. Everyone did humans. Are you kidding me? Everyone killed for their God. That's what human sacrifice is, by the way. The Crusades, that was human sacrifice. That semantic bullshit where it's like, no, we may have slaughtered civilians for our God, but we didn't have a big temple dedicated to. Okay, well, we did have big temples dedicated to the God, and we did do ceremonies related to our conquering of the people and slaughter, but that wasn't the same. It's not the same, bro. So fucking boring. Like fucking like have a pair. Jesus Christ, quit pretending, you know? People get mad at the Aztecs because they were cooler about it. I'm not joking, okay? Like, fuck. The Aztecs killed an average of 20k people a year. Shit was whack. That's not that much by the standards of like a bunch of powers at the time. I don't think they sacrificed that many people though. They were just constantly at war. They literally had war gods that they needed to appeal to. So, as if the Christians didn't. What do you think the Crusades were? The Crusades were literally like the Pope going, "Hey, God, you get a free ticket to heaven if you march in this direction and fucking, you know, take Constantinople or whatever. Like, hey, go this direction, all right? Kill everyone you see." They killed so many people in the Crusades. Absolutely human sacrifice. Yeah, the fucking like central myth of sacrament is the idea that when you eat the fucking cracker and drink the wine, you're eating flesh and drinking blood. Like, if that was something the Aztecs did, every Christian today would say that made them barbaric. They'd be like, oh, did you know that when the Aztecs worshipped their war god, they would eat food but pretend and genuinely believed it was the flesh and blood of their god? Oh, despicable. You all do that. Like, it's just total Orientalist like double standards horseshit. Okay, wasn't there a lot of times when a witch showed up in a neighborhood, they would sacrifice her to God to keep Satan from corrupting with sin? Well, sometimes it was sacrificing. Sometimes it was like, if you know, if you're a witch, you will survive me bringing this axe down on your head, kind of deal. You know, it varied. They justify it by saying it's transubstantiation, not the same. Total bullshit. Total cope. Massive cope. Massive fucking cope. Incomprehensible cope. Do you think if the conquistadors were not successful, we would have had less colonization overall? Nah, the diseases from the New World still would have plagued the old, or sorry, from the Old World still would have plagued the New one, unfortunately. I don't think there was any getting around that. That was a historical inevitability. That was going to be the contact. That was going to be the consequence, even of peaceful contact between the new and old world. Like even if like no colonization happened, they didn't have any way at the time to know about or prevent it. Not really, you know. So many Aztec sacrifices were prisoners of wars, and a prisoner of war criminal was a ritualized death penalty. Well, kind of. They would go out of their way to capture enemy combatants to sacrifice them. So it was more. It wasn't just like they were prisoners of war. They would go out of their way to capture because it was better from their religious perspective to kill them as a sacrifice than to kill them on the battlefield. The Jaguar warriors were actually promoted in accordance with how many enemy combatants they brought back and captured, and they got cool hats. Not kidding. Literally, like, fucking gamifying it. They leveled up. They got, like, capes and stuff, you know? If they, if they captured more people. I saw an image once of, like, depictions of how they got more sick over time. Loot drop? I mean, yeah, it's literally, like, you know. I'll find it later. It's not really relevant. Did they get prestige if they sacrificed themselves? I don't think so. The Aztecs were full like blood warrior culture. They wanted to kill other people. I mean, they would die, and if they died, that would also appease the, you know, warrior god, but if they're dead, they can't kill other people. I think being chosen to be sacrificed was a huge honor, but it wasn't like the warriors out there in the field were self-sacrificial. That'd be pretty bad for fighting, right? Didn't they have a game sport where players died? Is it the same game slash sport where Shell existed and nobody cares about anything else because she was such a baddie she spawned like 20 years of porn? The like Road to El Dorado? Is that it? Was that Shell? Wait, isn't Shell from Portal? Who am I thinking of? Okay, wait, so Shell is from both. Same name? Okay, okay, gotcha. Vikings versus Aztecs, who win? Oh fucking no. Who cares? Um you are a monster, Kowalski. Probably the ones with metal. I'm not really sure, right? I mean, I don't know. The Vikings and the Aztecs were both pretty blood crazy, right? Both like the more people we kill, the more heaven we go to. So I don't know. You fucking lunatics, really. Uh, I mean, I personally I think the Aztecs are way cooler. For one, they invented color, whereas pretty much every European like military group just, you know, oh wow, iron is shiny and gray. That's crazy, you know. I am wearing the skin of a jaguar and I have painted it, you know. I don't know. So that's cool. The Romans had color. Oh, well that's not modern. All right, hush up. We're moving on. Stop. Why am I being blocked out of seeing a fucking Daily Beast article now? It's everything now. It's just every single fucking website is like, yeah, you have to register, even if it's for free. So annoying. Okay, what's going on here? Ireland's Prime Minister Leo Varadkar announced his resignation. He says the reasons for him stepping down as the leader of the governing Fine Gael party are mainly political. Okay, all right, let's address the conspiracies right off the bat. Does this have anything to do with Israel? Ireland has been very loud and very aggressive relative to other European powers on denouncing Israel. Is this some kind of pressure thing? No? What else, if not that? Stepping down as leader of the Fine Gael party will relinquish his role as PM as soon as a successor is chosen. I'm resigning the presidency and leadership of Fine Gael and will resign as... Are you fucking kidding me? I have no idea how to pronounce this. Taoiseach? Really? Taoiseach. That's how that's pronounced. Okay. Why even write it out in these letters then? Like, is there really no better way to... Okay. Sure. All right. Prime Minister, as soon as my successor is able to take up office. Yeah, fucking Elven runes. My reasons for stepping down now are personal and political, but mainly political, he said without elaborating. I have nothing else lined up. I have nothing in mind. I have no definite personal or political plans. What the fuck? This is very weird. Just goodbye. I have no plans, no idea. Goodbye. I must go now. He got caught fucking shot. Yeah, is like tomorrow a big news story gonna drop or something? Is this some Epstein shit? What, literally, like what? Who would go out with this little said? The first gay prime minister of Ireland. What a queen. Mother is Irish, father is Indian. First Ireland biracial prime minister. Played a leading role in campaigns to legalize same-sex marriage and to repeal a ban on abortion. Oh, well, he seems pretty cool, I guess. I don't know. Seriously, it's pronounced Fine Gael. My Irish ass will not stand for these pronunciations. Have you considered having a sane, like, phonetic alphabet, perhaps? Would you like to use not these letters? Would you like to use a different alphabet? Vosh, stop. Lol, it's their language. Lol. Yeah, and it's my alphabet. Get out of here. Shoo. Get out of here. Shoo. Fucking leprechauns. Fucking tax haven leprechauns. Are you Roman, Vosh? Yes, America is the spiritual inheritance of the Roman Empire, okay? It was the Roman Empire, and then the Byzantines, and then America. That's how it works, all right? You can tell because of how our Capitol building looks. You know? We have neoclassicist architecture, therefore, we are Rome, is what this means. That is why they did it. See? Rome. It all fits. Perfect gleaming white with no color, exactly like Rome was. Empire in decline, exactly like Rome was. Yeah, okay, it all fits. We're Rome. Thank you. Now change your alphabet. Varadkar recently returned from Washington, where he met President Joe Biden and other political leaders as part of the Irish PM's traditional St. Patrick's Day visit to the U.S. Do you think he resigned because he realized he would never be as authentic of an Irish Catholic as Joe Biden? You know, like he resigns now in shame because he's been mogged. He's been Catholic mogged by Joe Biden. Look, There are only two possible explanations that I can think of for this. All right. I'm not kidding. There's only two that I can think of. Either there's been some behind the scenes maneuvering to oust him because he has been not as pro Israel as a bunch of other Western leaders want him to be, or there's some scandal that's going to come out and he's just leaving to get ahead of it. Maybe it's not those two. I'm not psychic, but I genuinely don't understand why. Like, this is such a weird way to step down. I have nothing else lined up. I have nothing in mind. I have no definite personal or political plans. When has that ever happened? You know? I know ENG, it was a joke. It might be because he lost those two referendums last week. Yeah, but it's still a weird way to go. I don't know. It's very odd. Maybe it's something like totally mundane. No clue. This kind of thing happens in Japan. Politicians will get filmed littering, Jesus, a cigarette butt, and then resign and make a public apology. Yes, but that's because they get caught doing something. Chad, don't make me misspeaking worse than it already is. Um, like that's not really comparable because in this case we have no fucking idea why he's resigning. Did we go over this on stream? That story, how there was like a tenured Japanese professor who had been stealing coffee from the coffee machine by not paying for it, and when he eventually got caught and fessed up to it, he got fired from his job and lost all of his pension money and is essentially destitute because he took like $12 of coffee for free. They are crazy over there. That's racist, Renique. Some Outer Worlds plotline shit. Yeah. Maybe that's what we need. We need to be like Singapore and give people the death penalty for spitting gum on the sidewalk. It's the only way. Unironically Oriental despotism. Oh, so you're suggesting this is like mandate of heaven shit, essentially. You know, like punishments given to the tenured professor, an extension of the divine will of the emperor, and you know that's why it looks harsh to us. But if you're in the presence of a living god, as the Japanese are at all times, then you know it all makes a lot more sense. Not for you, white people happy. Oh, he wasn't a professor. He was a junior high principal. Fired for stealing 7 half cups of coffee. That's like 8 cents of raw materials. 59-year-old man caught nipping a little extra coffee, detained by police for it. No charges were pressed, and the man was released. However, since he was the principal of a nearby junior high school, word of the incident got back to the Hyogo Prefectural Board of Education, who questioned the man once again. He admitted to having misappropriated coffee a total of 7 times since June of last year for an approximate total of 490 yen worth of ill-gotten coffee, or like $4 or something. As a result, they handed down a disciplinary dismissal for, quote, gross misconduct unbecoming of an educational public servant. Japan will really do this and then also have female only train cars so that the women get groped less by these guys, you know? They apologize from the bottom of their hearts for allowing this to happen. And yeah, he lost his retirement benefits for this. Yeah, he didn't even steal from his workplace. It was literally just a random convenience store. Why are you apologizing, the Irish Soak? Did you know that phones and cameras in Japan are forced to have the like click noise when you take a picture with them because they had such a problem with people taking upskirt shots of schoolgirls with their skirts that they wanted it so that you were always known to be doing it? Kind of base, not gonna lie. I think what we need in all Japanese phones and cameras is an AI system that determines whether or not the picture you've just taken is of like legs leading up from a downward angle, and if it is, the phone explodes in your hands and kills you instantly. I think that would be a good way of solving this problem socially. You know, I think we need to. Right now, we're sort of like bandaging the you know we're putting a bandage over a problem. We need to address the root cause, which is a lack of exploding phones. Well, the Irish soak, all I said is that I don't know what it is and that it might be that. I don't think I was very like declarative in the idea that it was definitely because of the statements on Israel. I wonder if Japan did a little less creepy man stalker manga, maybe this creepy behavior would fade from the subculture. No, it's the ultimately the issue over there is that their stuffy romantic and work culture make it really difficult for men and women to interact normally. They keep men and women separate and like people barely interact and they're tired and there's a lot of social pressure and the birth rate is declining massively and blah 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 blah. That's why Shinzo Abe wanted people to breed, you know? So as a consequence of that, people get really fucking weird about sex. Like really, really, really weird about sex. Social conservatism. Look, humans are meant to be. I reject this like because Christians do this to an extent as well, but like not to the same extent, at least not here in America for the most part, leaving aside, I don't know, Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormons or whatever, okay? People are meant to be like horny and interacting with one another. That is how, like literally, that is how we're meant to be. That is how we evolved to be. That is how we have been, even back in the Middle Ages or whatever, you know? Like even in relatively socially repressive cultures, there, you know, men and women would still sneak off and fuck or whatever. Like this happened. This always happened. It's never not happened. The more society pulls people away from that, the more likely you are to have weird fucking social issues like the shit you see in Japan, you know? Even kids Vosh? Well, leaving aside the fact that rape and predation of children was probably a pretty widespread social norm for most of human history, and only recently we pushed back against it, I can say with great assurance that yes, when I was 15, I was in fact sneaking off with the girls, and later the boys. Obviously, no shit, you know? I feel like this is one of those things that's only like, I don't know, I don't even understand what like level of social isolation in Japanese culture would be necessary to produce the attitudes they have over there when it comes to gendered integration. Why do you make the boys wait, Vosh? Because boys are fucking dumb and they have cooties. Why'd people happy? Every time I unban somebody, and I don't remember why they've been banned. I unban them, and then like they immediately remind me. None of them understand that if you've been banned, the way you should act when you get back is to toe the line and not be annoying. None of them get that. They never get that ever. They never get that. Um, which is probably how they got banned the first time. I've been laying low. You're doing great, Kropotkin's love. Makes sense, Masagui. Anyway, that was only a 1 day. Maybe they'll learn this time. The month from last time wasn't enough. You have to wait for Vosh to forget who you are. Literally, if I remember your name, the odds of you getting banned goes up massively. Is there a clear explanation of why they were banned? No, I don't need one. It's my chat. The rule for getting banned is if you annoy me, you get banned. That's the rule. You know, you have to be normal is the thing. That is the rule. I ban very few people. I'm good to you. Do you pronounce Masagu as Masagui on purpose or an accident? I do it on purpose. I know it's a one, but I like doing it, so. I'm sorry, Thrash Metal OD. All right, what are we doing? Anna Kasparian doesn't want Trump properties to pay for his legal problems. Okay, isn't that fine? What's disagreeable about that? Hunter, don't worry about it. All right, real news. What is this? Mar-a-Lago judges Stark ruling. Jury sees secret files or Trump wins. Interesting. The MAGA-friendly federal judge who keeps siding with Donald Trump in his Mar-a-Lago classified records case has forced prosecutors to make a stark choice. Allow jurors to see a huge trove of national secrets or let him go. Is this that unreasonable? Jurors are often made privy to private information. I guess like top secret, ultra classified is a step beyond that, but stuff like this doesn't happen that often. The charges like are relevant to the severity of the materials kept, right? Or is there nothing in the case that would involve that as a question, you know? I'm not too worried about the jurors leaking the information. I guess the main concern this is meant to be like a barrier, right? I guess like, oh, if you want to prosecute Trump so bad, you got to show him in the hopes that maybe the prosecutors don't want to show. Do we want them to see the nuclear codes? Yeah, give them the nuclear codes. Hell yeah. Guys, the nuclear codes aren't in the documents. Department of Justice Special Counsel Jack Smith must now choose whether to allow jurors the upcoming trial to pursue the many classified jurors' instructions that would effectively order them to acquit him. Smith could appeal to the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, where more experienced judges have already overturned Cannon and reined her in, but doing that will only further delay a trial that's at least 3 months behind schedule, entirely by the judge's own design. Yeah, she's been delaying. Like this seems, yeah, it's a delaying tactic, basically. I don't know how relevant this is to the actual case, because it seems like the case is more about like the extent to which Donald Trump hid the efforts that he went through to hide the documents from the FBI and not turn them over, rather than the actual content of the documents. This could be bad if it reveals assets in the field. No. There's not any worry about that, I don't think. For one, if the jurors started leaking information like that, they would get black-bagged. For two, a lot of the information in those documents is out of date. It seems like the only legal case against Trump that's holding pretty well is all of the New York financial stuff. And that's not even about him doing crimes related to his presidency. We're literally doing the getting Al Capone on taxes thing, where the January 6th case in Georgia is stalled and mired with controversy. You know, the Mar-a-Lago case with hiding documents from the FBI. You know, this is getting stalled out by a pro-Trump judge. And what that leaves us with, I guess, is the state of New York bankrupting him. Yeah, I don't understand this ruling, but I guess it's a Trump judge, so, you know, whatever. The documents case is a slam dunk. Yeah, but it's a delaying process, right? I mean, even with this judge giving dumb fuck rulings, you could still go to the appeals court. But the whole point is that that takes long enough. They're trying to bite out time. They know that if Donald Trump makes it to the presidency, all of this becomes irrelevant. I don't think the hush money case is going to be worth much, Potato Brain Sim. It seems like the lowest stakes of the four. Can they delay until elections? Yeah. Yeah, fully. Guess we'll have to wait to see what Jack Smith does. The documents case is the most solid case with so much evidence against Trump. Yeah, that's true. But again, it's the one that got the Trump-friendly judge. And, you know, the delaying tactic is what they're going for here. It's not a question of which case is the best. It's a question of which case hurts him the most and the fastest. And right now, the New York, fraud case seems to be the one that's going to have the most impact purely because it finished the fastest and has the largest monetary impact. And running elections costs a lot of money. What is this? Trump isn't backing down from controversial bloodbath rant. We still talking about this? It's been 2 entire days. He said he was only referring to a disaster for the auto industry. What? If he's not elected in the fall? Why does he... Fuck off, Daily Beast. Hit your article limit. Why the fuck does he care? Is my question. The Republicans have been refuting this for the past 2 days. Refuting what? What is there to refute? No, Vosh, no, he said the bloodbath thing against China's tariffs. It doesn't matter. Have you heard him talk? It's all soup nonsense. He just says stuff. The points that he makes are often disconnected. Also, why would he care about, why would any Republican care about him saying bloodbath in the context of some kind of broader, like, race war or political conflict? He does that all the time. Is that new? Like, wait, is it novel that Donald Trump would say something like, you know, it's going to be a bloodbath in this country if I don't get elected, like just with regards to anything political or racial? That's not new. He's done that before. I don't understand why they're like hobbling over this one. Because Biden HQ is using it in his campaign. Oh, that's why they care. Gotcha. That does explain it. I mean, we can hear the damn language.
Donald Trump right into rally in Ohio.
And you're not going to be able to sell those guys. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole. That's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country.
The reaction was immediate. Trump.
I mean, yeah, he could be talking about the cars. He could just be talking generally about the country. It's not like he's particularly precise with his language. I don't know. Look, it's Donald fucking Trump, okay? He says stuff like this all the time. I guess I just, like, you hear this, you know, if there was some, like, Ku Klux Klan guy who was making statements where it's like, oh, he could be talking about a race war, he could be referring to this specific thing. Like, I don't fuck, whatever. Mehdi Hassan and Cenk were beefing about this on Twitter. Oh my god, who cares? Jank, it wasn't an economic speech. We need to be more... Okay, hold on. I can't stand Donald Trump, and I think he's a danger to American principles, but he said bloodbath in the context of an economic speech. Given his history of calling for violence, he should be more careful, but we need to be fair. He wasn't advocating for violence this time. Jank, it wasn't an economic speech. We need to be more than just careful. He's always advocating for violence. He literally saluted domestic terrorists in that same speech. He did do that, yeah. He was ushered on stage by the January 6th choir, you know. I know that was a different part of the speech. We covered that as well, but he said we should have 100% tariff on cars made in Mexico, which is insane, but he said bloodbath in the context of economics. Okay, in fairness, putting a 100% tariff on foreign vehicles probably would also lead to an actual physical bloodbath in the United States, because it would be such a ruinous decision economically that people would be, like, cannibalizing one another on the streets, you know? So there's that as well. Yes, he should never say it. We have to be fair about the context. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much plausible deniability Donald Trump can reasonably benefit from at this point, you know? Hitler didn't mean Jews in that part of the speech. He was talking generally. Yeah. Again, the thing that makes it especially weird to me is just that Donald Trump signals that the country is going to fall apart if he doesn't win all the time. That's just not new. I don't know. Whatever. Many MAGA Republicans are saying Trump's bloodbath comment should be put in the context.
But you all... Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country.
Jews will not replace us!
But you also had...
I've heard of subtlety. I've heard of authors who employ subtlety, and I think they're cowards.
People that were very fine people on both sides.
Are you willing to condemn white supremacy?
In fairness, Donald Trump literally did say that about the Charlottesville people. You know, that's not out of context. That is true. Though the Jews will not replace us bit. This wasn't Charlottesville. This was that other march. This was the Tiki Torch March. He didn't say fine people about these guys, but he did about the Nazis at Charlottesville. So, you know.
Very fine people on both sides.
Are you willing to condemn white supremacists and militia groups?
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
There'd be a lot of pardons and commutations.
That was Charlottesville. Well, he was specifically referring to, like, people on both sides of the protesters and counter-protesters at Charlottesville, not specifically to that group. Again, you know, whatever.
January 6th defendants.
Yes, absolutely.
Tell your supporters now, no matter
Vashites, stand back and stand by.
what, no violence.
And it's going to be a bloodbath.
I don't have a problem with this. The ad overall is about his support for hate groups and his willingness to signal support for violence, all of which is completely true, right? You know, it's like, well, technically when he said bloodbath that one time, it's like, yeah, he's called for violence a bunch of other times and said the country's going to fall apart a bunch of times. And he signaled violence and supported domestic terror groups and said that the people who committed a coup and tried to kill a bunch of politicians to get him elected in office are actually heroes and patriots. And he's done all this other stuff. But that one specific time, the term bloodbath, it was in reference, it was about cars. It was about cars. I don't really care, you know. I mean, Jan 6 did actually happen. Well, that's what the media wants you to think, yeah. I do appreciate libs embracing the Trump fascism rhetoric. It was so annoying when leftists were called hyperbolic for it. Yeah, it is nice, genuinely. It's one of the big, like, positive shifts that I've seen in American liberals, where they seem relatively comfortable now, just, like, openly making, like, Nazi comparisons, which is warranted. Nazis aren't the only fascists to have ever existed, but they are the most well-known ones, so it's, you know, relatively easy to point at them and draw the comparisons. Also, as fascist groups go, Nazis have been the predominant, like, influence of fascist groups in the West in white populations for about 80 years, coincidentally. So, you know, they're also often the most direct comparison. Was that an actual Biden ad? Yeah. Biden campaign raises $53 million in February. Whew. The president's campaign and affiliated groups, including the DNC, hold a significant cash-on-hand advantage over Donald Trump and Republicans as Trump continues to spend on legal bills. Yes. That's nice. On February 5th, the DNC held about 3 times as much money on hand as the RNC. And with Donald Trump's debt issues massively rocketing up recently, that's probably only going to get worse. Love to see stuff like this. It's all about the money. Did you see the Elon Musk response to this? With a 5-year out-of-date meme format? Why is Bloodbath... Did he make this? Did he seriously go to Meme Maker? Oh, imageflip.com. There we go. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? The greatest genius of our time. Oh, this is from March 17th. I guess everyone's talking about the bloodbath. I don't know. All right, I mean, if you want to talk about Elon, this has gotten put off for a while because I had to make sure it wasn't copyright. The entire Don Lemon Elon Musk interview, I took a look at some of it to try to get a feel for how bad it was. And the main issue is that Elon is really stupid and boring. He's not like Donald Trump, who's just effortlessly entertaining. Like, Elon isn't fun to watch at all. The only reason anyone would enjoy watching Elon in any context is to watch him suffer and to take pleasure from it, which is fine and good, morally good. Some clips have been making the rounds. Sort of the distilled bits here. You know, there's this, and there have been a few posted by Aaron Rupar, but I really, really, really like this one. Elon realizing this is the first time he's ever spoken to a black person who knows he's a racist. I think it'd be more accurate. Oh yeah, it says right here. The first time he's spoken to a black person whose job wasn't dependent on them being nice to him.
Do you have any desire to understand what...
Oh, I should say, for those who don't know, I'm surprised if anyone doesn't have the context at this point, but Don Lemon, CNN's relatively mediocre host, retired and wants to do his own show. And he was going to do a show that was like backed by Elon Musk, exclusive on Twitter. But, you know, kind of the way that Tucker Carlson for a brief period of time was relevant on Twitter, but now he isn't again because Twitter is actually a terrible place to host content. And isn't it cool that Twitter is set up in such a way that you can make like a really well-produced show, put an episode of it on Twitter, all the ads on it are like ad buys from drop shipping bots, and then you tweet out a couple of things and your video that you worked really hard on just falls down the list of stuff in your feed because it's just one single page of all your shit on it, you know? I love getting in a conversation with someone over tweets and burying my hard work, you know, deep into the it's a very well-designed site for content curation, I'll say. All right. Anyway, the first episode of The Don Lemon Show would be an interview with Elon, and Elon got so ass mad after this interview he dropped support.
Many people of color and even trans people, how they feel about this country and how they're treated in this country. If they say and they believe that they are treated a certain way in this country, why don't you believe them?
You cannot have a situation where someone is a self-described victim and they just get to be that because that's how they feel.
I think that does happen in some cases, but not all cases. And I think that not understanding the history of the country, I think, is a real shame. Look, I've had incredible opportunities
and other countries.
I've had incredible opportunities as a person of color.
Right.
But I've also been
doing very well.
But I've also been discriminated against, and I know that I have, and I know that that's real. And for someone to say that that hasn't happened, and I should not I should just move forward and not think about that and ignore the past is insulting.
So this is a big issue ultimately with the Republican line, okay? And it's one of the reasons why they've had so much difficulty in having a kind of like broadly accepted narrative for everyone to get behind. Usually the way, like the textbook way of uniting a bunch of different groups of people, majority or minority, under one like reactionary political body is through nationalism. Because the argument is, you know, whether you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever else, like as long as you're American, we can all do this together. This was the attitude that a lot of like conservative groups historically has taken. This was more common in like the Bush or like Reagan type neoconservative presidencies where, don't get me wrong, Reagan was extremely racist, but the outward facing rhetoric of the GOP in the Reagan era was at least a pretense of that. It was like an effort to mask the more reactionary politics by unifying it together. But that doesn't work anymore for the GOP because the GOP is kind of like openly white nationalist, you know? Elon Musk engages with and reposts Nazi propaganda on his feed, you know? He agrees with Nazis posting like racial IQ graphs, as we saw. So you lose the ability to do that like grand unifying narrative when you start splitting hairs along those lines. And now you don't really have a good answer except to just embrace racism, which isn't a great look in an interview, not even to a lot of Republican voters. Like I said in my video, the truth about Republican voters, or whatever the editors titled it, you know, the one that came out like, I don't know, a week ago or something. No matter how bad things may seem, just remember that most Republican voters are completely delusional as to how bad the things they support actually are. A lot of racists don't think they're racists. A lot of sexists don't think they're sexist. That kind of stuff.
I'm not saying it. Don, you keep putting words in my mouth. I'm not saying it's
I didn't say that you said it.
I'm saying that we want to. We as a country should move beyond the questions of race and gender, and we should treat people like individuals and base our opinions on them on the, you know, their character and their skills.
I guess I'll take the time to talk about this. Saying we need to move beyond race and gender. Okay, first of all, move beyond gender. Do you want to abolish gender, Elon? What do you mean move beyond race and gender? Do you want to say that race doesn't exist at all? Because if that's the case, why are you agreeing with people posting racial IQ graphs? Hey, listen, if you're going the radical route on this, go for it, you know? What they mean, move past race and gender, what they actually mean is don't talk about it. We should focus on people as individuals. But that doesn't necessarily follow. You can focus on people as individuals while still talking about broader social stuff. That would be like saying, I don't want to talk about Americans or America. I want to focus on the individual. To which the obvious answer would be, from anyone, from Elon even, well, you can be an individual and an American. Okay? So you can be an individual and black. You can be an individual and a woman, or gay, or whatever else. Those two things don't cancel out. It's always been weird to me. One of the like main arguments the right has used against the left is that the left is collectivist and doesn't think of people as individuals, but nothing could be further from the truth. In reality, individual liberation has always been predicated on the ability for you to not be persecuted based on your group identity, and there's no way to do that without addressing that pre-existing bias. It's conservatives instead who try to force everyone in line under shared, groups or icons, to the point now where, like, to the right wing, being trans makes you a groomer. If you're a teacher or whatever, you know, being gay makes you a groomer. They are very, very willing to make like group characteristics a thing and a part of their policy. You know, if you're an illegal immigrant, you're dangerous. They have no respect at all for any kind of like individual probabilistic sociological analysis. All they care about is, you know, what suits their agenda, really. Yeah, reactionaries love the collective.
I don't think that anyone will disagree with that.
Exactly.
All I'm saying is that that's not happening and is not equal for everyone.
Being a conservative makes you a pedophile. Well, that's true.
That those opportunities don't happen for everyone. And I am a living example that they don't. I know that they don't because I live it.
You've been incredibly successful.
I have been,
and
in spite of it all.
See, look, Elon literally can't understand it. Don Lemon is saying correctly, I have been very successful as a black man, but I've faced a lot of persecution as a black man. And Elon blusters and says, you've been very successful. Elon literally can't comprehend the idea of a person succeeding in spite of racially based adversity. He actually can't understand it. Rare Lemon W. Oh, I don't like Don Lemon, but compared to Elon Musk, he might as well be fucking, you know, he might as well be Gandhi. You know, it's the comparison here is insane.
You've been incredibly successful.
I have been,
and
in spite of it all. But I know what I know. I've experienced what I've experienced. You haven't done that, and I cannot. I don't know what it's like to be from South Africa. I don't.
That's it's a comparison between a black American and like your experience growing up as a white South African.
Know what it's like to be a white man. I don't know what it's like to be a woman. I don't know what it's like to be a Latino person. I don't know that, so I wouldn't speak for them and just say.
So, okay, Elon agreed with this when actually I disagree with what Don Lemon is saying here. I think that there's a pretty big difference between understanding a person's lived experience and being able to intellectualize what it might be like to be another person, you know? Empathy isn't the best determining factor in whether or not you have a good ethical system. You can be empathetic and very bigoted. Like, those two things are not mutually exclusive. But, you know, I think that you can make an effort to understand. The problem is that making that effort involves a lot of self-checking, right? Like, it involves a lot of introspection because you have to make sure you're not pulling bias into the equation. And that's always what people fall into, right? For example, a lot of well-off white people make the mistake of thinking, oh, okay, I'm not black. But if I was, say, for example, this black kid who grew up in the inner city, I would just do what I did growing up to succeed. I would study hard and work really hard in my classes, and I would get an extra job in school when I hit 16 so that I could work and save up some money. And then, you know, when I graduate, my parents will give me a loan, and I can use that to go to college without incurring student debt, and da-da-da. And they project their own life experience onto other people, and then because in their mind they would have succeeded, they assume the other person's lack of success is a product of them being just worse, making worse decisions, not being as smart, whatever else. That's the myth of meritocracy for you. If you believe that everyone really does get the same shot in life, that means people who aren't doing as well as you are just, you know, worse.
You need to move on. That's not for me to say. I believe that it would be great if the country could live up to that ideal.
I like these clips quite a lot. This isn't even close to the stupidest one, by the way. I wonder what these people's answer to the veil of ignorance would be. I don't think that Elon Musk could understand the veil of ignorance as a concept.
And speaking of MAGA, you recently met with Donald Trump in Florida.
Aaron Rupar, what is this recording quality you've done here? My goodness.
You guys talk about?
I was at a dinner. I was not done. I was at a breakfast at a friend's place.
Oh, this is when Elon Musk said, like, yeah, I met with Donald Trump right when he was trying to fundraise to pay off his $500 million bond. And he just, you know, I just happened to see him, no plans whatsoever, you know.
And Donald Trump came by. That's it.
So you didn't go there to meet him?
No, I went to a friend of mine's house and it said Donald Trump's coming by for breakfast. Is that, just so you know, like, okay, fine.
What'd you discuss?
Let's just say he did most of the talking.
What did he say?
The normal things he says. There was nothing particularly ground.
Can you imagine, like, genuinely, can you imagine how cooked you would have to be to look at this guy and think that he's smart? It's not just that he is autistic, by the way. That's the only explanation for his behavior. And he also has some kind of, like, nervous stutter, but he also just talks dumb. He just doesn't, none of this comes through, you know? Like, there are people who are really bad in public when it comes to speaking, but then they type out and write really eloquent stuff. Have you seen him tweet?
Breaking on you, but he, you know, President Trump likes to talk, and so he talked. I don't recall him saying anything that he hasn't said publicly, and that was it. It was just a breakfast.
Did he ask you for money?
He didn't.
Did he ask you for a donation?
No.
They think he's a socially inept genius, like we view Zizek. Yeah, but Zizek is clearly smart. You listen to him talk. Zizek isn't exactly the most charismatic person in a classical sense, but you know, you put him in his element. The man can belt out like banger after banger after banger. What has Elon Musk ever said that was memorable? I'm asking, like, in the entire time that Elon Musk has been thought of as the super wealthy, famous genius, Tony Stark, whatever, are there any lines, any quotes, anything that concerning? Like, all I know him for is the stupid shit that he tweets over and over like an NPC. I don't remember him having said anything. Like, there are things Biden has said, lots of things. How many genders are there? At least 3. Like, them, right off the cuff, like banger line, you know? Takes charisma to deliver something that funny, even if it's unintentional, though I think it was intentional with him. You know, what has Elon said? Yeah, he stammered out "go fuck yourself" once because his incompetent management of the site was losing him money and the advertisers didn't want to have their stuff next to anti-Semitic posts. That was it. Go fuck yourself, that's it? Let that sink in.
He didn't.
No.
You said you're not going to donate to any candidate.
That's correct.
Why not?
I think
Jesus.
well, I'll voice my opinion.
Stuff like that, dude. Oh my god.
I think I don't want to put a thumb on the scale monetarily. That is, you know, significant.
Are you going to loan him money to help?
Like, that pause was for him to say, like, to answer the question, why won't you contribute to either candidate in this race? That's not like a difficult conceptual question. I'm going to focus a lot on this as we go over these clips because I genuinely think that, like, it's almost impossible to cover Elon or understand how he is without drawing constant attention to him just being genuinely quite stupid. Just being kind of empty up here, you know?
Pay his bills?
No,
Not at all. Pay his legal bills.
I'm not paying his legal bills in any way, shape, or form.
And he did not ask you for money.
And he did not ask me for money.
Are you going to? So you're not going to endorse a candidate?
I believe him.
I may, in the final stretch, endorse a candidate, but I don't know yet. I want to make a considered decision before the election, and if I do decide to endorse a candidate, then I will explain exactly why.
Are you leaning towards anyone?
No.
You're not leaning towards anyone because you've been.
What was that
I'm
noise?
leaning away from Biden.
You're leaning.
I've made no secret of that.
I mean, the candidate that Elon Musk wanted to win was Ron DeSantis. Remember Ron DeSantis announcing his candidacy on Twitter, and it got held up for 30 minutes because they were using it as a debut of their, like, big group voice thing. And by debut, I mean it existed beforehand, but it got broken when Elon took over the site, and then it took 30 minutes and it broke and it didn't sound right and there was an echo. That was the opening of DeSantis's campaign. Didn't Musk also endorse Vivek? Yes, like 1 day before Vivek dropped out. I remember.
This is something worth people.
Do you understand the connection between the two? There's a connection between, you said Democrats, the Great Replacement Theory, but when it comes to the actual Great Replacement Theory, originally it was started.
Do you think it has something to do with drug use? I don't know that much about ketamine. I don't know if, like, significant long-term ketamine use leads to mental degradation. I mean, all drugs taken in excess will probably lead to some kind, but I don't know. I don't know to what extent that's the case with ketamine.
There's a connection between, you said Democrats, the Great Replacement Theory, but when it comes to the actual Great Replacement Theory, originally it was started about Jewish people, as you said, flooding in the country, and then now people are using it for Democrats, saying the same thing about Democrats, flooding.
In my view, it's a simple matter of incentives.
Yeah.
I actually don't see an incentive for Jewish people to want to have legal immigration. I don't think there is such an incentive.
The Great Replacement Theory is a neo-Nazi trope. It's in the neo-Nazi manifesto. It's in the Turner Diaries. It's referenced by the Buffalo mass shooter in his manifesto, where 10 people, black people, were murdered in Buffalo. There's the actual title of the Christchurch Shooters Manifesto. 51 people in the Muslim mosque were murdered. 23 people murdered in El Paso by a shooter who used the same language that you use in that manifesto when you say Hispanic invasion. Is that not?
I didn't say an Hispanic invasion.
It's worth noting, by the way, that if I remember correctly, Elon has multiple times engaged with people saying openly great replacement theory stuff. Like, it's not even remotely ambiguous, and it's not just he said exclamation point in response to somebody hinting at it. He's just openly engaged with and agreed with people saying it. I don't remember every time this has happened because his engagement is usually just him saying concerning in response to somebody talking about, like, Jewish overrepresentation in media, but, you know.
You quoted a tweet that said that
he's endorsed it himself here. Elon Musk all but endorses the Great Replacement conspiracy theory. Almost no one seems to be aware of the immense size and lightning growth of this issue, the issue being illegal immigrants versus American births. According to the mayors, it is already overwhelming essential services in New York, Chicago, and other cities. He's done more. He said more than that. This is not the worst thing I remember him saying on the subject. I remember him saying something quite a bit worse. Well, it's out there. You have said the actual truth. His literal pinned tweet right now endorsing a Great Replacement video.
Borders plan to entrench single-party rule, explained in under 2 minutes.
Okay, yeah, I guess, I guess his pinned tweet on his Twitter page right now at this exact moment is the Great Replacement theory. That's pretty direct. The Democrats are flooding the country with illegal immigrants in order to displace the local demographics and entrench Democrat control. That's the Great Replacement.
The Democrat open borders plan to entrench single-party rule, explained in under 2 minutes. 1. Flood the country with untold millions of illegals by land, sea, and air from all over the world. Enough to eclipse the populations of 36 individual U.S. states so far. 2. Prioritize the needs of these millions of non-citizens over the needs of the American citizen.
I don't have to debunk this, right? This is obviously like the fever dream of a deranged conspiracy theorist racist. I don't need to waste time going into like all of this. Yeah, man, that's totally true. America is giving illegal immigrants free flights, buses, hotels, meals, and phones. That's extreme. That's so true.
With free flights, buses, hotels, meals, and phones, ensuring their loyalty.
I mean, I do think they should be given free meals, and free phones are probably a good idea. Oh, I know what they're talking about with phones. The free phones are because there have been migrants who made court dates, and they were given phones because the phones would help them keep track. It's literally the Obama phone thing all over again.
To the political party that imported them. 3. Keep them in the country at all costs, even when they commit violent crime like murder and rape.
Biden has turned away an absolute enormous fuck ton of migrants. I don't know why he'd be doing that if his goal was to keep in as many people as possible. Also, is that true? We love keeping in illegal immigrants who do murders and rapes?
Attack the language used to describe the criminals, as opposed to the criminals themselves. Slander critics as racist.
Sure.
4. Ensure their privileges are made irrevocable with city and state sanctuary laws that act as population magnets. Codify permanent status and ensure non-cooperation with ICE.
Okay.
5. Count the non-citizens in the census that will determine congressional apportionment in the House of Representatives. As of now, that would equal 13 extra congressional districts. A tremendous amount of electoral power.
Yep, that is how it works. The number of people that are in a state determines the the proportion of representatives. That is how that works.
6. Wage a massive, heavily funded lawfare campaign to change state voting laws that legalize mass mail-in ballots, no signature verification, and no proof of citizenship requirements.
When you mail in a vote, the vote gets checked against the registry of eligible voters. It's not like a post-it note that you scribble Biden on and put it in. What do you mean proof of citizenship? What does that mean? when you send in the vote, it gets checked against the registry of eligible voters. They don't check you. If you go vote in person, they don't. Okay. They think you just send 500 postcard votes. They do. They literally do think that. Yes, they do believe that.
Making it nearly impossible to prove voter fraud.
How would it gets checked against the registry? Literally millions of dollars have been spent by Republicans trying to prove that voter fraud is a problem, and they keep coming up empty over and over again. How do these people remember to breathe? I don't know.
7. Lock in the permanent voting majority with campaign promises of lavish benefits and permanent privileges.
Even if everything they were saying was correct, like even if every single thing they were saying here was accurate, which it's not even remotely, it sounds like the big conspiracy theory is, what if Democrats seditiously took control of the country by having more people vote for them, and the way they get more people to vote for them is by doing policies that are popular with the majority of the population? Okay? Like that is, even if everything here was true, it sounds like the strategy here is they do politics. Also, if they say they're just faking votes, why do they need to import millions of illegals if they're going to forge the votes anyway? That's a great question, Son of Ra. Why would they go through all the trouble of importing millions and millions and millions of undocumented immigrants if they could just have teams of Mexicans already in LA filling out Biden Post-it notes where you scribble Biden and then a big check mark, billions of them, and just flood, like, why not just do that?
Enshrining generational fealty to the Democrat Party.
It's called voting for the people who represent your interests. It's how politics work. That's how it is.
8. Win elections.
Democrats' sinister plan to take control of America. Make people like them, comma, have people vote for them, comma, get voted in. Those sneaky Democrats with that classic get elected by people voting for you tactic. No one ever expects it. Those sneaky... I hate it.
9. Entrenched single-party rule has been achieved.
I guess what you could do as Republicans would be to propose policies and do things that make people vote for you, Possibly.
The best part? Your tax dollars are paying for it.
Yeah, okay. So this is the great replacement theory. Definitionally, no room for argument. So when I said, it's going to take such and such length of time for us to find evidence of Elon Musk supporting the great replacement theory, I know it's out there. I didn't think you could go to the pinned propaganda video at the top of his page. Like, I didn't think that it would be that easy. Taking a look at the guy who made this, Western Lensman. He's got pretty much the kind of vibe that you would expect over here. It's all great replacement stuff. The deep state is preparing for war. Do you think Elon has enough money that if he wanted, he could sway the election? Probably, yeah. But it's complicated, From Bill Ackman, the greatest mind of our time. I find this credible. This guy's also obsessed with the bloodbath thing. Bill Ackman is a crackman. That is true, thank you. It's also funny because the last time seats were redistributed, the GOP gained and the Dems lost, so the replacement strategy isn't working. Well, I wonder if there might be something a little bit unreliable about that video we just watched, you know? I don't know. Oh yeah, for the most obvious example of Elon Musk supporting the Great Replacement Theory, you have somebody saying Jewish communities have been pushing this kind of dialectical hatred against whites. Western Jewish populations coming to the realization those hordes of minorities that support flooding their country don't exactly like them too much. You want truth said to your face, there it is. And Elon Musk responded, you have said the actual truth. So that was pretty straightforward. This was what led to this led to another like gigantic advertiser departure from Twitter. This was the thing that led to Elon Musk saying that you can go fuck yourself in response to that, right? Is this that one, or is this yeah. This has happened a few times. Okay, let's move on. So we get it. Elon Musk believes in the Great Replacement Theory.
Had called it a Hispanic invasion.
If I quote something, it doesn't mean I agree with everything. Invasion.
And you, in that manifesto, when you say Hispanic invasion, is that not?
I didn't say an Hispanic invasion.
And you quoted a tweet that said, that called it a Hispanic invasion.
If I quote something, it doesn't mean I agree with everything in it. It's just,
when I reply to a tweet, you know, saying something with exclamation point, why is no one talking about this, looking into this, laughing, crying emoji, 100 arrow in the center of the target, you know, that doesn't mean I agree with it.
something that I think this is something worth people should consider.
Why would you quote something that you didn't believe?
Because anything I quote is going to have a whole range of statements. Doesn't mean I agree with everything in it.
This is what is actually happening, was what he said, by the way. Is that true? Was it that straightforward? Hold on. Elon Musk, Hispanic invasion tweet. I need to see that. Here, maybe it's in the replies to the tweet of the video that we're looking at right now. I'm sure somebody's linked it. Oh, I need to find it. Please. Yeah, get to work, chat. What the fuck is that? Oh my god, system noise. Jesus Christ. No, I was control F-ing. This is what is happening. I can't find it. You found it? This is actually happening? This? No, 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 no. The Hispanic invasion tweet. It's his pinned tweet. Not that one. This tweet was pinned after the interview with Don Lemon. You goobers? All right, chat can't find it.
Do you think if you moderated yourself more, if there was better content moderation on the platform, that you wouldn't have to answer these questions from reporters about the great replacement theory as it relates
I
to
don't have to
Democrats,
answer these questions.
the great replacement theory as it relates to Jewish people? Do you think that?
I don't have to answer questions from reporters. Don, the only reason I'm doing this interview is because...
Yes, he does. Yeah, he did. That was like a big deal for a while, yeah.
You're on the X platform, and you asked for it. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I would not do this interview.
So you don't think, do you think that you wouldn't get in trouble, or you wouldn't be criticized for these things?
I'm criticized constantly. I could care less.
You don't care?
No, I don't.
Why not?
I don't think people should care what the media thinks about them. They're terrible judges of character.
Literally, the only reason I agreed to do an interview with you is because I thought that it was going to be like a Twitter exclusive show. Outside of that, I don't do interviews with the media. He crumbles so easily. Sure, he cares less. He literally fucking mainlines ketamine to keep afloat. Was he always this evil and dumb? I don't think he thinks he's evil. I just think he's stupid and really, really insecure. But he's probably always been this dumb. It's just, you know, he folds under pressure.
I'm going to show you. Well, that's not was what the study shows. And you said you like transparency. I'm going to show you this. And
Don, you can get a study that will tell you whatever you want.
But these are just a handful of extremely. You look at those anti-Semitic, racist tropes and tweets, and as of this morning, they're still on X. And from your own content policy, these posts should have been deleted. So why haven't they been deleted? Why are they still there? Did you?
We delete things if they are illegal.
But these have been up there for a while.
Are they illegal?
They're not illegal, but they're hateful, and they can lead to violence. As I just read to you, the shooting.
I think it would be better for Don Lemon and for people in this position not to ask, like, hey, why haven't you taken it down? But rather to say, why do you think people will want to use your site if it's clogged with stuff like this? Like, there's a reason why social media sites have had a terms of service, and it's not just censorship. It's often because sometimes people do nothing but drag the entire site down with hateful content or with abusive messages. And if you don't do that, you're going to inevitably, like, if your site is open to all ideas, that means you're essentially giving good and bad ideas the same platform to survive, and that's going to muddy the waters massively. Can you imagine if every forum ever had just turned into a big, like, neo-Nazi thread or whatever? I think there are ways to handle this that are better than just showing posts and saying, well, why haven't they been banned yet? Even if Twitter was good about maintaining a solid TOS and banning people who break it, which they aren't, of course, but even if they were... Well, the TOS for Twitter, in practice, it seems, is don't disagree with Nazis or you'll get banned. But, you know, to that extent, they're quite consistent. But you know, even if they were good about this, there would still be posts that slip through the cracks. It's really just a matter of the implicit endorsement from Donald Trump, or not Donald Trump, sorry. I guess from him too, but from Elon Musk. And Elon Musk does directly engage with, you know, a lot of that really far-right stuff. How much until there's a big downfall 4chan style? Well, I think in a lot of ways, Twitter right now is worse than 4chan. Because if nothing else, 4chan had different boards, and all of the boards that... First of all, 4chan is anonymous by default, which means that the potential for abuse is lowered, at least in that context. Thank you so much, Nunya. I really appreciate that. I'll go over donos soon. Second of all, there are boards that aren't B or, you know, R9K or whatever, and those boards tend to... not to say they're great or whatever, but they tend to, you know, dogpile people who act especially shitty on their side of things because they want to keep their own niche forums, you know? Twitter is like everything thrown together, and also a bunch of people have like professional accounts on there. And fewer porn spam bots, that's true, yeah.
Shooters, you know, in all of these mass shootings, attributed social media to radicalizing.
So Don, you love censorship, is what you're saying?
No, I don't love...
Zero IQ, no thought response right there. If you say, hey, the preponderance of Nazism on your social media site is directly linked to terrorism, so you like censorship, huh? Like, this is like a 4 IQ libertarian response to literally anything. Like, oh, you want to arrest people for murder? You want to put them in a prison? You want the state to arrest them?
Love censorship.
Then why are you asking?
I believe in moderation, but I don't believe in...
Censorship moderation is a propaganda word for censorship.
Bedtime is a propaganda word for authoritarianism. He's so fucking dumb. You can see why libertarianism appeals to really stupid people, right? Because it requires no critical thought at all. It just anytime you dislike anything, you can just throw it in the box. Like, you don't have to engage with systemic analysis at all.
But don't you think free speech is one thing, right? Or not, you know...
Look, if something's illegal, we're going to take it down. If it's not illegal, then we're putting our thumb on the scale and we're being censors.
That's not how censorship works. Censorship is when you remove... First of all, in the colloquial sense, censorship is done by the state, you know? if you can't shout like fuck you in class in like school or whatever, it's not censorship if you go to the principal's office. That's just you broke decorum in that space. Censorship usually refers to state repression. Otherwise, like not being able to talk loud on your phone in the theater is censorship because they're censoring your speech. It's stupid, right? But even if you ignore that and think like, okay, let's expand censorship to include like really big social media companies because they kind of run their own little government, don't they? And in a way they do, you know, in their own like limited fashion. What then is censorship? Well, do you think it's censorship that the United States government can have you arrested for harassment? You know, you can be taken away by the police if you, for example, belligerently shout down a person over and over in public. Like that can lead to you being arrested. Is that censorship? Well, no. It's just that socially there are benefits to having people arrested if they are so willing to break decorum that they you know, that they're perceived as a threat to the public good, the public commons. There isn't really like an easy line for where that should be. I think that harassment should be illegal to a point, but obviously not like to any point, right? I don't think, for example, saying fuck you to someone should lead to you getting arrested, right? Like if a cashier has a rude customer and they're like, oh, fuck off or what. Like, I don't think they should be arrested for that. But like, what if you're on the bus and there's some guy screaming at you for like 40 minutes, you know? Not death threats or anything, just screaming at you. Like, I don't know. There's got to be a line somewhere, right? Take it up with the judge, you know? Well, you know, talk it out. Sleep in a drunk tank for a day. I don't care. Whatever. There's something to be done. So with that in mind, it's not really meaningfully censorship to get rid of stuff that's not necessarily illegal, but is nonetheless bad. One way that you know this, by the way, is that Elon Musk has been fastidiously banning people who dox Stone Toss because his docs leaked recently. You know, it turns out he was a Latinx queen, as you know, a pudgy one, and that isn't illegal necessarily. Saying the name of a person whose name has been outed is not illegal. That's not a crime. The police won't arrest you in America for doing that. And yet, nonetheless, Elon Musk is banning people for it, which means that Elon Musk is totally okay with banning people for stuff that isn't illegal as long as you're not a Nazi. That's it. Like, that is censorship, because at that point, he's not enforcing a neutral anti-doxing policy. Instead, what he's doing is using it as a partisan wedge to ban non-Nazis and protect Nazis. That's it, really.
You're putting your thumb on the scale for moderating hate speech. I mean, you don't put out child pornography. That's not...
It's illegal.
Some people would say that's considered censorship. I'm just saying, you...
No, I literally, Don, you know, I literally said, if something is legal...
I think that's a bad example from Don Lemon. What about different laws in different countries? For example, a ton of the content on Twitter right now is illegal in Germany. Germany has laws against the defense of the Nazi regime and stuff like that, you know? A lot of that content, if made by a German, would get them literally arrested. So does Elon obey that? Why does Elon not follow the laws put forward in the European Union? You know, the EU has their own rules when it comes to like the enabling of hate speech that Elon has persistently refused to engage with. Why, if so? What laws does he actually care about?
Okay, we will obviously remove it.
Okay.
But if it is not legal, the laws in this country are put forward by the citizens. We're a democracy. If those laws are put in place by the people, we adhere to those laws.
Okay, I
agree.
agree.
The laws of others. If you go,
he does follow them if it's about censoring people who are disliked by their authoritarian governments. Yep. Never forget, Elon Musk has agreed to almost every government censorship request given to him by authoritarian governments since he became the head of Twitter. Far more than the previous Twitter regime. If you're an authoritarian leader in a foreign country, you can just say, hey, Twitter, ban my political opponent, and 83% of the time he'll agree. Yes, and Elon did unban Dom Lucra. Yeah, the guy who posted CP. Yeah.
Go beyond the law. You're actually going beyond the will of the people.
Okay, agreed with the law. But if you are doing something that promotes hate and violence and ultimately leads to killing, you don't feel you have any responsibility not to do that?
I think ultimately Don Lemon really wasted this opportunity because he was pretty milquetoast and Elon got upset anyway. But he could have destroyed Elon if he brought up the government censorship requests. The fact that Elon like consistently agrees to them, you know? I think at the time Don Lemon didn't realize that Elon was so upset even by this that he was going to drop the project. Don Lemon thought this was going to be like a softball interview to kick off his Twitter exclusive show. But you know, Elon got upset even by this. He wasn't willing to like burn the bridge by being even remotely critical as a journalist.
When the people who are doing it admittedly are saying
there's articles all the time that lead to violence and killing. Don't they? Shouldn't they? Like you're applying a differential standard to.
But that would never be in mainstream media.
Why does Elon even agree to these interviews? He knows how stupid they make him look. He literally said in a clip that we've watched today that he only agreed to this because it was to promote a show that was going to be exclusive to Twitter. He doesn't want to talk to media otherwise because he knows he'll get cooked.
That it will take an airplane crashing and killing hundreds of people for them to change this crazy policy of DIE. I don't know if did you misspell it on purpose, which it should be DEI. Do you believe that women and minority pilots are inherently less intelligent and
Oh yeah, here's another one, which is pretty straightforward. A bunch of immigrants arriving in one day in Italy, and Elon responding, "The Soros organization appears to want nothing less than destruction of Western civilization," which is just straightforwardly, the Jews are sending migrants to destroy the West. Like, that is literally just the, like, indistinguishable from any, like, Stormfront Nazi. It's, like, I know I keep saying it's indistinguishable. I just wanted to be clear that, like, conservatives typically operate under some pretense, some plausible deniability, some, like, layer of abstraction, but Elon just keeps doing the thing directly.
less skilled than white male pilots?
No, I'm just saying that we should not.
And minority pilots are inherently less intelligent and less skilled than white male pilots?
No, I'm just saying that we should not lower the standards for them.
Okay. But there's no evidence that standards are being lowered when it comes to the airline industry.
You've repeatedly said that there's no evidence that standards are being lowered, and watch the replies showing all the evidence that it is.
Replies, though, on social media or on Twitter are not necessarily fact and evidence.
No,
that's people's opinion.
They will cite all the replies. In the replies to this, you will see how often the information is cited, showing that indeed there are significant cases where standards are lowered.
And I do hope that...
Literally, like, there's no evidence to suggest that, because Elon and his cohorts on Twitter, every time they see a black pilot for a while, do you remember that? Remember how we started getting all these plane troubles, and conservatives were like, plane troubles must be because of black pilots, because they're stupid. And then they, for weeks and weeks, they were like, all of these airline companies are lowering their standards, like they're letting black people on, they're letting black people fly, listen, I'm not racist, but, and then like, and then it turns out, actually, no, it's just that Boeing is building all of their planes out of cardboard, and then the discourse got dropped entirely. And Elon is like, well, the evidence is in the comments. There is no evidence whatsoever that any airline company has lowered their admission standards for pilots specifically to allow black people in. If they've lowered their standards generally, then I have no idea why race is being made an issue. You know, like, why bring up race at all? There were a few weeks. Oh, here we go.
Yes. Hits so hard because we've all been in the back, and that's why I think
look, DEI in the cockpit on the Charlie Kirk show called Thought Crime with Jack Posobiec, the Nazi.
This United story and the DEI story hits so hard because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits, or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now thinking about that.
No, I mean, like, you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
So yeah, that was the conservative discourse for a few weeks there. Just very straightforward. Like, yeah, again, we are past the point of euphemism. We have emerged out the other side. we are fully just
Well, that's the you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality.
It's the reality. So yeah. Anyway, that's conservative discourse. Yeah. There might not be any evidence of airline companies lowering their pilot standards to let black people in, but if you see the comment section under my tweets, Don Lemon, you would see a bunch of people Sieg Heiling, and does that not itself constitute evidence?
That happens. I do hope that happens, and I look forward to it. And as you said, if you're wrong, then you're wrong, and if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong.
Yes.
Okay, so and I'm glad we're having this conversation, debate.
Cuck move, Don Lemon. Pilot standards are FAA, not airlines. Oh shit, you're right. That's true. Yeah. They're done to government level. It's not an airline company can't even do that. Here's one with the black woman pilot. Oh, Lauren Witzka again is just a Nazi. As your silver-haired Maverick pilot retire, meet his new replacement, and it's a black woman pilot, and I guess it's like she's black. The pilot is doing nothing wrong in this clip. The only good part of Twitter is that getting the Twitter fact check here, this thingy, what's it called again? The community note. Yeah, it removes your ability to make any money from the tweet. So when Nazis like Lauren Witzka post this, knowing fully well it's going to get a bunch of anti-racist rage bait, looking to get a couple $1,000s off of it, it gets yoinked. 27K likes, by the way. In case you don't use Twitter that much, open neo-Nazi shit regularly gets the same amount of engagement or more as just regular, normal politics Twitter, you know? Like, this is just, it's like split into thirds between conservative Twitter, left-ish Twitter, and Nazi Twitter, you know? This is literally just a normal video of a pilot. No, you don't understand. A white pilot wouldn't be shaking on takeoff, okay? Can we see the second tweet? Quote, I'm scared. What? She says landing gear, not I'm scared, as part of normal takeoff procedure. What? Does it sound like I'm scared?
D1.
Was that it? That didn't sound... Okay, whatever. Literally said landing gear. Yeah, I don't know. Like, Nazis have never needed a reason to hate black people before.
This is what we should be doing, debating the issue. So if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, and then they'll be proven in the thing, and you as well. But I just want to tell you that pilot that you talked about, in fact, was a woman pilot. Landed the plane safely, despite the major malfunction with the equipment. Boeing has taken responsibility for that incident, saying that it was caused by a faulty door panel. So I'm not sure what that had to do with lowering the standards for...
Again, in case you guys have forgotten, conservatives were literally saying, some of them, that the fact that a black woman was piloting was the reason why the plane door fell off. Like, a black woman pilot somehow affects the maintenance and construction of the airplane. This was like a large talking point. This was broadly discussed. This wasn't just like one weirdo. She hit the plane door drop button. She hit the ejector door. Yeah.
Pilots when it was a faulty...
No, it's not lowering standards for pilots. It's the incentive structure, I believe, at Boeing changed to include DEI as...
Yep, there he goes. Literally, in the interview. In the fucking interview. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not a racist. There's evidence of black plane magic happening somehow. I think Boeing, oh, it turns out it was Boeing and not the pilots. Well, Boeing has black people at it, you know? Boeing doesn't certify pilots. No, it's literally just they just want to blame black people. That's it. That's it. There's no, because what is he going to do except that Boeing, a gigantic tech company that manufactures vehicles, might be prioritizing profits over quality, and as a consequence of that are leading to people getting killed just a few weeks after that Chinese billionaire lady died in a Tesla? No, I don't know. This is one of the reasons why, you know, when communists say racism is often a product of class bias, this is what I'm talking about, you know? This is what I mean, where, you know, you can have your workers of all races unionize, or you can convince them that they need to fight among each other.
As a fundamental executive incentive. In my view, it should be purely about passenger safety.
Okay, but do you understand how by saying just that standards are being lowered, that you're implying that they're being lowered because people are less skilled and less intelligent, and you're talking about people of color and or women?
Don Lemon could roast him so hard here if he had the balls to. It's so disappointing that he didn't go harder. What DEI standards has Boeing put in? Don't you think it's irresponsible to say problems with their vehicles might be a product of those DEI standards if you don't even know what they are? Because he doesn't know what they are, obviously. He doesn't know anything. You know, like any roasting would make him cry.
Look, I'm saying we should not lower standards.
But do you?
But do you? I don't think Don Lemon really put together an impressive performance with tough questions throughout the interview, personally. I think that even somebody as weak-willed as Don Lemon can make Elon Musk look like a fucking idiot because he's that bad. Like, uniquely bad. I don't know if anybody else in this space is that bad. With how quickly they could fold. Okay, how could I not? Wait, one more clip. Remember what I said about how the whole thing is kind of boring? This is what I mean. A lot of it, like, it's just spinelessness, you know? You should debate him. I would love to debate Elon Musk. I'm sure that's very easily in the cards, you know?
Doesn't the buck stop with you? I mean, you're on it.
I have to say, choose your question carefully. There's 5 minutes left.
Okay, but so
is this the question you want to ask?
The same question is, you said that they are killing the company, but you're the head of the company. The buck doesn't stop with you?
The question here is, Don Lemon is basically asking, isn't it your fault that all these advertisers have left? Like, you complain about advertisers killing the company, but they had, like, they're leaving because of stuff you're doing, so...
I acquired X in order to preserve freedom of speech in America, the First Amendment. And I'm going to stick to that. And if that means making less money, so be it.
So I have to be, listen, I'm just being honest, right? I'm not trying to, like, get you or anything. I was
literally lying. He was forced to buy Twitter. Yep. Remember, he did not buy Twitter willfully. He initially put up a bid and wanted to back out of it, but he was forced by the courts to continue with the purchase. He did not want to buy Twitter.
Just surprised that you would blame other people for killing the company. I mean, when you say the buck stops with the president of the United States, regardless of what happens, right? So, why would that question upset you? You seem upset by it, are you?
I think.
Okay, maybe at this point Don Lemon realized that he that Elon was upset. You might as well commit to the bit at this point. Are you mad? Are you going to cry?
And I'm not trying to upset you.
Well, you are upsetting me because the way you're phrasing the questions, I think, is not cogent.
It's not what?
Not cogent.
Cogent.
Yes.
Go ahead.
It's a smart person word, Don Lemon. You wouldn't understand.
If given a choice where an advertiser is saying, like, you have to censor all this content on the platform, irrespective of where their advertising appears, then our answer will be like, look, you can choose where you want your advertising, what you want your advertising to appear next to, but you can't insist on censorship of the entire platform. And if you insist on censorship of the entire platform, even where your advertising doesn't appear, then obviously we will not want them as an advertiser.
So what would you...
Yep, that is how it works. Advertisers don't want their stuff appearing right next to, like, Nazi content. That's true. Mm-hmm.
You say to advertisers who have left the platform or who are considering coming back or not coming back? What would you like to say to them?
Well, first of all, almost all of our advertisers are coming back.
This is so guys, if you are using Twitter right now, then you know how hilarious that fucking statement is. Seriously, just use Twitter on your phone, just scroll through Twitter, take a look at the advertisers that are on there. It's hysterical.
So it's a very short list of advertisers who are not coming back to the platform. And our advertising revenue is rising rapidly. And our subscription revenue is rising rapidly. And
I believe him.
I feel very optimistic about the future of the X platform.
Okay. Listen, honestly, I'm not meaning to offend you. You're an intense person. Where does that intensity come from?
I was born that way.
Takes big sip of Monster. Musk disagrees with Musk on advertisers. But this is 6 months ago that his ad revenue is down 50%. So I'm sure that in the 8 months ago, I'm sure in the 8 months since then, actually everything has turned around, you know? Even though literally the only ads that I see at this point are drop shipping fake mobile game ads in the Liver King telling me that I can get swole too if I just eat livers, and it's community noted saying that he did a bunch of steroids every month.
And I had a tough childhood.
You did?
So, yeah.
Growing up on the mean streets of South Africa, you know? Nothing but hope in your heart and several $100,000 of emeralds in your pockets.
How so?
Right, Walter Isaacson goes into it in the book, and we only have a couple minutes left, so...
All right.
Too long to describe. So there are one or two questions I can do, and then we'll have to call it.
Okay, again, I don't mean to upset you. Why are you just...
No, I have a whole room full of people waiting to meet with me.
Okay.
So we're just going over time.
Okay, all right, I understand that. So
God, he's so fucking awkward, dude. Holy shit. You should read about Elon's relationship with his dad. Oh, no, fully. People like this are usually a product of an uncaring father. Trump's the same way. Elon's dad literally, like, married his adopted daughter or something. Like, when he was, like, 50, he adopted, like, a 12-year-old girl, raised her to adulthood, and then married her or something like that. Yeah, here we go. A lovely Rolling Stones headline. Like father, like son, Elon Musk's dad has a secret second kid with stepdaughter. Just, you can take a second with that one. Kind of, sort of grooming, I don't know. I don't think it's kind of, sort of grooming. I think it's actually the most grooming you could possibly do. Like, this is like arch grooming. It's more grooming than anything else I could imagine. It's turbo grooming, you know? It's not just groom. No, this is special grooming, okay? Grooming plus, yeah. Well, anyway. Elon Musk, everyone. Are you going to react to the Sisyphus 55 video? It's like 2 hours long, so probably not, no. Remember when Elon's dad made fun of Elon, saying he was rightfully pushed downstairs after mocking some kid's dad's suicide? No? Elon Musk made hurtful comment to fellow pupil who left him hospitalized, father says. That boy pushed Elon down a staircase at school, injuring him so badly he had to be hospitalized. This was his villain moment. Yeah, that's where the brain damage is from. That's where the autism is from, actually. Long-term recreational ketamine use was associated with lower gray matter volume and less white matter integrity. Bolsonaro just received his first indictment due to falsifying his vaccine card. Huh. It's an odd thing to get him for. Why would he even need a COVID vaccination? Didn't he get COVID like 50 times? Isn't his body 30% COVID? You'd think he'd be immune by now, you know? Yeah, he's John COVID. He's like the viral origin point. The vaccine is to protect the COVID, yeah. Who cares about him anymore? He almost literally fell off. Making a humiliation spectacle of disgraced former leaders is an important part of securing a new regime. I think that Lula should put him in a stockade right in the capital so people can throw tomatoes at him. I feel like his physiognomy changed massively. I feel like in the time that he spent in Florida, he went from being a Brazilian fascist to being like, now he just looks like any other retired cop that moves to Florida, you know? He became a Florida man. Lost a lot of weight. It's like a Venom situation. The COVID inside of him is taking shape, reforming his body. Bolsonaro has dropped out of sight because he can't wear pants due to a skin infection, Brazil's vice president says. Yeah, this is from 2 years ago. I remember this. This was classic. This was a great Bolsonaro moment. My goodness. Man, I feel like shit. I feel fine emotionally, just not been sleeping well. God. On the plus side, to those of you who weren't here for the previous stream, look at the goddamn pants and shirt that I got. Look at that. Looking good, if I do say so myself. Very happy with the fit. The pants are a little bit tight around the stomach because high-waisted pants, the top of the pants, the belt line, actually comes up to the stomach and not to underneath where the gut is. I think one way in which high-waisted pants are objectively just easier for women on average is that women's fat distribution tends not to give them a big projected forward gut, and I do have enough fat that, like, it's not that much thinner at the waist than it is at the top of the hips, like, which is right underneath the gut, I guess. So I'm stretching them out a little bit. Wish that was the case as a trans girl. Eventually it will be. Hormones affect fat distribution. Please cover this Nebraska news. Nebraska news. Nebraska state senator could face consequences for explicit comments. Okay, well, what are those comments? You know, you got me hooked. You've got me hooked, and I want to know. Let's find out. Things happen in Nebraska? I guess so.
A Nebraska state senator apologizes for saying senators' names while reading a rape scene from a book during a legislative debate.
Okay. All right. Just gonna take a shot in the dark here and guess that this individual is probably a Republican. Could be wrong. You know, it gets wackier at the state level than at the, you know, the national level, but
However, Hastings Senator Steve Halloran rejects calls to resign, calls from fellow lawmakers and protesters.
He read this passage out loud from the book Lucky, a warning this might be difficult to listen to.
Okay.
He kicked me and I crawled into a ball. I want to Senator Kavanaugh.
That was during debate about a bill on material schools provided to students.
KTV.
What? 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 Why? On materials provided to students. What possible connection?
Newswatch 7's Alex McClune is live now with any consequences Halloran could face. Alex?
Rob, Quinicia, no formal action from lawmakers so far tonight, but Halloran faces three things: censorship, a vote condemning his action, or even expulsion from the legislature. Here's the apology he offered earlier today.
Regret how I presented what I was presenting by calling out senators' names during the reading of that transcript. It was a very ugly transcript.
Halloran attempted to...
Basically, the Republicans want to ban books from our libraries. This senator was dumb enough to call out a pro-LGBTQ plus senator. Yeah, Senator Kavanaugh in Nebraska. We've covered stuff from her before. She's a good egg. A good lady. And a graphic description of a rape scene and a book. Fucked up. Call out a... Okay. So what he said was, quote, "I want to fuck you, Senator, my lady colleague." So it wasn't just him accidentally splicing together two sentences. He just weirdly, bizarrely decided to insert her name into a portion of content that he was arguing shouldn't be in schools or something. Like he inserted her, like if you were in a classroom and it was like, we're going to all go over this exercise together. Now, who wants to be this person? Oh, Aaron, you can do this bit or whatever. Except it's with rape and he referred to another senator. Okay.
To talk to those protesters today before being insulted and felt things got out of hand. Halloran said his interjections Monday were directed at male senator with the last name Kavanaugh and not Michaela Kavanaugh. Either way, some senators say they're concerned for the tolerance for harassment at the state capitol, while others argue First Amendment protection on the debate floor.
Yeah. During a debate on a bill targeting obscenity in libraries, Halloran read a graphic excerpt from the memoir Lucky by Alice Sebold, which recounts Sebold's experience of sexual violence when she was 18, and invoked the name Senator Kavanaugh several times, appearing to reference Democratic State Senator Michaela Kavanaugh, a female colleague. Halloran later said he was invoking the name of Kavanaugh's brother, Democratic Senator John Kavanaugh, because he wanted to ensure that John Kavanaugh was paying attention to his argument against allowing students to have access to Sebold's memoir. Michaela Kavanaugh, who was visibly shaken following Halloran's reading, has said she doubts Halloran's claim that she was not the target because Halloran had approached her a couple hours before the reading as she was eating dinner with another lawmaker and relayed the same passage from Sebold's memoir. Okay. Halloran's reading drew an immediate backlash from both Democrats and Republicans in the officially nonpartisan legislature. Do you have any idea how bad you have to be to get called out by your fellow Republicans on a state level in current year? Do you have any idea? Under investigation for sexual harassment. Huh. Well, that's wacky.
The antidote for speech we find offensive is speech, not punishment. Not punishment at the hands of government.
We should have some mechanism to address inappropriate speech. Senator Halloran, you should be ashamed of yourself for being incapable of apologizing. There is no justification for your actions, and you should resign.
We'll see if lawmakers take any action. The Speaker of the legislature says he's trying to keep emotions in order here after abortion and trans youth care sent the session into a spiral last year. Rob.
Does this just give the audio here?
Starts with breaking roll tonight. State Senator Kavanaugh rule.
You don't know anything about anyone in our school.
Senator make.
No, it doesn't have the audio. I hate news organizations, man. Well, I know it's out there somewhere, but, you know, whatever. Why do these people not straight up call him out? Why dance around it? Are they not? It seems like they're all being pretty direct. I don't know. Here's the full video. Oh, thank God. Yeah, this is why people don't like legacy media, you know. They never just say the shit.
I'm excited. I made him excited. He was intrigued and worked his whole fist into my vagina and pumped it.
I guess I knew what I was looking for.
And it went into my brain. Stop staring at me, he said. I'm sorry, I said. You're strong. I tried. I liked it. He started humping me again, wildly. The base of my spine was crushed into the ground. Glass cut in my back and behind. He kneeled back, raised your legs, he said. Spread them. Give me a blowjob, he said. He was standing now. I was grounded on the ground trying to search about the filth of my clothes. He kicked me and I crawled into a ball. I want a blowjob, Senator Kavanaugh.
Yeah, I struggle to find... There we go. That's what I was looking for. I wanted to see how, like, bridged the segue was. You know, like, that's why I wanted the unedited audio. To see, like, in context, how did that sound? And yep, that sounded about as bad as you could. Is he absolved with the context? No, my friend, I'm afraid the context does not absolve him this day. It did not help him.
He held his dick in his hand. I don't know how, I said. What do you mean you don't know how? I've never done it before, I said. I'm a virgin. Put it in your mouth. I kneeled before him, Senator Kavanaugh.
Yeah, I don't know about the context on this one. I don't know about the context here. Twice. Make this whole speech a dono alert noise. Only for the biggest donations. Jesus Christ. All right. Well, try not to be too hard on the guy. He is, after all, the world's least rapey Republican. Yeah, no kidding, Nikki Bugs. Close this, close that. I don't believe in color analysis, lore please. But I agree. Have I seen this news from Alabama? Alabama governor signs sweeping law that prohibits diversity, equity, and inclusion at public schools and universities. Goes into effect October 1st, 2024. How that means nothing? Yeah, did they talk about any like specific thing that gets changed here? Because I've still never heard a conservative fucking define DEI. Yeah, DEI is like a bland corporate thing. I confess I don't actually know what DEI means. What is it? Oh, don't worry, nobody does. It's like critical race theory. The last time they tried this, they used critical race theory. That's it. It's literally just a it's a meaningless buzzword they can use instead of saying the N-word. Like 70 years ago, they just would have said hard R nonsense. That's it. That's true, Andy. It's a bit more multi-purpose. The legislation prohibits local public school boards and universities from maintaining an office or department that promotes DEI. It also bars students, employees, and contractors from being required to attend any DEI training, orientation, or course that advocates or requires assent to a divisive concept. Love that. The legislation outlines 8 divisive concepts, including discussions around conscious or subconscious racism and sexism, and whether meritocracy or traits such as hard work ethic are racist or sexist that are now prohibited. Okay, so you can't teach about racism or bigotry anymore, okay. Yeah, of course, Filth Queen. They don't need to know anything about the subject to ban it. Well, we'll see if this actually leads to anything. Bill prohibiting public funds for transgender care goes to Idaho full Senate. After overwhelming testimony in opposition, the Senate State Affairs on Thursday narrowly passed a bill to prohibit public funds from covering transgender health care. It's so terrifying because a lot of trans people here are in poverty. I say this is a skill issue, okay? Simply, if you're born and you know you're going to be transgender, simply move on your own to a blue state. It's possible. I've driven around. They can walk to the Canadian border. That's true, yeah. Or Washington, whatever works. All right, what else do we have here? Oh, that's right. Speaking of stuff being done on a state level, I've got some good news that doesn't sound like good news. So, you know how revoking Roe v. Wade has led to a rising tide of women, especially, who are opposed to the GOP? Because, as it turns out, a lot of people, liked having reproductive rights, and now far fewer of them actually do. The big divide in the GOP, or one of the big divides, has been how far do we take the anti-abortion thing? If you'll recall, the previous chair of the RNC resigned, giving a speech on the importance of being moderate when it comes to anti-abortion legislation. Remember? We saw it just a few days ago. She, here, RNC chair speech, abortion. Just give me that clip.
It is a little bit bittersweet to be with all of you here today as I step down as chair after 7 years. We cannot put our head in the sands and ignore abortion and the Dobbs decision. Many of our candidates chose to ignore this issue and not talk about it. And the RNC was a leading issue, urging candidates to talk about this issue head on.
Okay, so what she's saying here, because she's trying to thread the needle here, the GOP is made up of a bunch of different groups with regards to opinions on abortion. You have people for whom they're like authentically Christian and they don't like abortion for religious reasons. You have people who like removing abortion as a way of sort of returning to earlier gender roles. You have people who think a moderate solution is necessary, like some kind of 16-week cutoff or whatever. You have people who want a total abortion ban. If you'll remember, about a year ago, one of the big lines was whether or not the GOP was going to go for the removing Roe v. Wade line or the federal abortion ban line. Remember? Remember that? Remember how, I don't remember which Republican politician it was, but they actually got a lot of blowback because they essentially made it known they wanted a federal abortion ban, which at the time the GOP didn't want to commit to because it was so politically unpopular that they knew they couldn't get away with it. Was that Lindsey Graham? I think I remember it being Lindsey Graham, but I don't remember for sure. Then there's also the question of exceptions in cases like rape and incest. Basically, the line is, how much are they supposed to concede to pragmatism, political pragmatism, and how much do they want to appeal to the hardliners who want a total federal abortion ban, no exceptions? Remember? That's what she's talking about here.
Go figure. I'm a suburban mom. I might have some opinions on this issue. I authored a memo in the summer of 2022 highlighting how we win on this issue when voters are faced with a decision between a Republican that supports exceptions and reasonable limitations when a baby feels pain and a Democrat who supports no exceptions, no limits, not even when a baby feels pain.
See? Right here. The line that she's distinguishing, the one that she says is electorally viable, is one where you lie about the Democrat position and pretend they're in favor of like baby mutilation 1 second before they're born, but you contrast it against a Republican who believes in exceptions for rape and incest and who doesn't want a total ban. You understand what she's doing here, right? She's advocating for moderation.
Too many candidates, and specifically their consultants, scoffed at this advice and ended up paying the price on Election Day.
Yep. And on 2022, during the midterms, after the Roe v. Wade revocation, a bunch of hardliners ended up losing when they were expected to win, either in their primaries or in the general, because they were too punitive with abortion. You understand what she's going on about? Chat. Stick with me here, okay? We're talking concepts here. Okay, we're following? We following? I got lost, TLDR. No, go back and rewatch. There will be a test. All right? We understand, Vosh. We ain't dumb. Whatever you say. So anyway, that has been one of the big lines in the sand for the GOP now for about 2 years. It's how hard do we take the abortion thing? Donald Trump, who's not exactly a great Christian himself, has been strategically ambiguous on the subject for a long while, but he hasn't really signaled intention to put forward a federal abortion ban. In fact, when asked about it in the past, he has backed off it, saying he's never made any such statements. Here's Donald Trump making such a statement as of yesterday on a radio show.
The number of weeks now, people are agreeing on 15, and I'm thinking in terms of that, and it'll come out to something that's very reasonable. But people are really, even hardliners are agreeing, seems to be 15 weeks, seems to be a number that people are agreeing at. But I'll make that announcement at the appropriate time. But the issue of abortion, we brought it back to the states, and everybody agrees that you've heard this for years. All the legal scholars on both sides agree it's a state issue. Shouldn't be a federal issue. It's a state issue.
So it's Donald Trump, so it's difficult to parse what exactly he's saying. But essentially, he's saying that after consultation, he believes that he could appease everybody in the Republican Party by advocating for like a general 15-week ban. But he also doesn't seem fully committed to the idea. The funny thing is, this is actually pretty bad for Trump, okay? And the reason for that is that nobody's happy with this. A federal abortion ban is going to be massively unpopular to most of the country under any circumstances. But him saying that 15 weeks would be reasonable and would appease all Republicans also angers the hardliners, because the strategic ambiguity the Trump campaign has taken previously on a federal abortion ban also was a way of keeping the crazy far-right people who want a complete abortion ban federally from getting mad at Trump for not supporting that. He punted and missed, lol. Yeah, there's a reason why the strategic ambiguity was the right move to make. Around 15 weeks of pregnancy, da-da-da. But people are really, even hardliners are agreeing, seems to be 15 weeks seems to be a number that people are agreeing at, which is going to make a lot of people angry. Last month, Trump's campaign dismissed reports that he privately had expressed for support for a ban on abortion after 16 months of pregnancy, calling the report fake news. The campaign did not offer details on Trump's plans, only saying he planned to negotiate a deal on abortion. Trump was asked by a reporter about a ban on abortion 16 weeks, and he said, we'll be talking about that soon. Basically, he's been signaling this for a while, but this is not going to be to his benefit. Did I say 16 months, 16 weeks? This is not going to be to his benefit at all. Personally, I welcome this, okay? It seems like the Republicans are only going to dig themselves in deeper and deeper and deeper, you know, on the abortion issue. Is it possible he was just appealing to the radio listeners and isn't really that committed? I don't think he's that committed, like himself, probably not, but it seems likely to me that this is the only way the GOP thinks they're going to be able to keep leading people around with a carrot at the end of a stick when it comes to the abortion issue. You got to understand, the GOP has been campaigning on abortion for 50 years. Revoking Roe v. Wade was one of the central promises of local and federal, you know, not just Republicans, conservatives too. There used to be a lot more pro-life Democrats. And then they did it. They got rid of Roe v. Wade. What do they do now? Right? I mean, there has to be something. If this is the line they go down, I welcome it. It seems pretty politically ineffective. Pro-life voters are offended by any timeline. I was once one of them. Yeah, it's not really like a winnable battle politically. So, you know, you can seem like you're on the cusp of winning, but yeah. If you believe abortion is murder, you won't be appeased by only a little bit of murder. Yeah, it's not really, it's a philosophical issue that people don't tend to take moderate stances on, you know? Why can't they leave it at revoking Roe v. Wade? Wouldn't that be effective? Well, we're talking about what is or isn't politically effective versus what is or isn't necessary to appeal to the crazy evangelicals. The crazy evangelicals don't want blue states to be doing abortions either, you know? They don't think, like, to them, at least to the ones that are sincere in their beliefs, the idea of blue states being permitted to, you know, still do abortions would be like having murder be legal in half the country, you know? That's not acceptable to them. Yeah, they want a complete federal ban, no exceptions. But that's so politically unpopular that it's basically unfeasible, but that won't stop them from pushing for it. It just makes more people not want the Republicans to win. Wasn't part of repealing Roe v. Wade from their perspective a lot about states' rights? States' rights has always been a lie every single time. No one actually believes in states' rights. Zero people do. Nobody does. Everybody wants the whole goddamn government. The only reason they say states' rights is because they want to get away with getting half of what they want before getting all of what they want. There are Republicans who want to revoke the Civil Rights Act because they want it to be up to the state whether or not this or this happens. They don't want state freedom. They just want some states to go back to having no protections for racism when it comes to employment or whatever else, you know? It's nobody believes in states' rights. Absolutely no one. Zero people do. Yeah, contraception as well is a big part of this. Isn't this bad for Biden because he can't do the Trump wants the federal abortion ban bill, I'm your shield, I'll veto it bit? I mean, he would. If Biden was president and somehow a federal abortion ban got through the House and the Senate, then Biden would veto that. So, yeah. This is good for Biden. Banning contraception is even more unpopular, especially with young voters. Yeah, I'm getting an article up on that now. You know, Biden may have a lot of problems, but the Republicans can keep reminding people of how much worse they are. Meta Knight, I'll go over that more in the future, but that's a whole thing. There we go. Republican opposition to birth control bill could alienate voters, poll finds. Really? Is that true? Arbitrarily banning something that makes people's lives better and enables a lot more freedom and reproductive control might alienate voters. That's crazy. Survey conducted by Americans for Contraception shows the overwhelming popularity of birth control, obviously, suggests voters are primed to punish Republicans for opposing a measure to protect access to it. When voters were told that 195 House Republicans had voted against the Right to Contraception Act, 64% of them said they'd be less likely to support Republican candidates for Congress, according to the poll. Whew! And overall, the issue of protecting access to contraception bolstered voters' preferences for Democrats by 9 points, giving them a 12-point edge over Republicans, up from 3. Well, that's nice. Have you heard about the singer who was passing out contraception in a state that banned the sale of it? I saw people getting mad about this. Olivia Rodrigo hands out emergency contraceptives at concert in Missouri where abortion is banned. That's not contraceptives being banned, that's abortion being banned. Contraception sales are legal in every state in the union, though some states have weirdo laws about it. Or do you mean Plan B is banned here? In Missouri, abortion is illegal. She'll no longer do this. After backlash, Olivia Rodrigo won't allow birth control to be handed out at concerts. How bad was the backlash? Free Plan B. Oh, okay. Yeah, if you're handing out Plan B, you're going to get more pushback than handing out condoms. You know, you can fire condoms into the crowd with a gigantic like t-shirt cannon, you know. Plan B gets people riled up a lot more. People got big mad because their fan base has a lot of minors. Okay. Do you want minors getting pregnant? Is that the implication of that logic? Don't what you're telling me that the health counselor at a high school is handing out condoms? There are high schoolers. Do you want them getting pregnant? Vosh, people pretend minors don't have sex. This is like an American evangelical conservative thing. It's one of the reasons why they push to not have any sex ed and just teach like abstinence-only education. They literally pretend, and then inevitably their girls get pregnant way younger than blue state girls, you know? I'm telling, like, if you want to go like city by city, and I've driven around a lot of America, okay? I have been around, and I have seen girls holding like young girls that are their daughters, okay? I've been around like cities, and in cities, when you see girls holding their daughters, you know, the girls that are holding the daughters, they look like me. They look like adults, all right? Not me like the beard and the height and stuff, okay? But if I'm driving around like rural America, go over to Idaho, whatever else, stop by a gas station, I see like a girl and her daughter, you know, talking to her, she's her daughter, whatever. Those girls, the older ones, look like they could be my daughters. There are a lot of young pregnancies, and a lot of them are out in the sticks, rural areas, fucking red state bullshit, and it's creepy as hell. You know? Yeah, every inner city girl looks exactly like me, you know? That's true. What does Plan B do? Plan B, it does a thingy that prevents the thingy from getting fertilized. I don't remember the exact mechanics of it. It's not good for you to take. Like, you should only take it if you really need to. It's like, yeah, that's why it's called Plan B. It prevents the egg from attaching. Oh, okay, so the egg gets fertilized, but it doesn't attach to the uterine wall. Yeah. Basically, it casts the grease spell on the inside of your uterine wall, and the fertilized egg bounces off it. You shit it out or something. I don't know. It also gives you tummy aches like a motherfucker. Why bad for frequent use? I thought that was propaganda. No. It gets you. You're doing like the reproductive equivalent of taking like Ipecac to induce vomiting. You know, it's like it won't kill you. You probably don't want to do it every day, though. Yeah, it's not cheap either. Yeah, it's also less effective on fat people because they've already got grease in their body, so they're used to it. Spermicide makes your balls suicidal, right? Spermicide is when you put like a whipped cream can nozzle in the pussy, and then you for like 20 seconds, and then you're fine when you nut later. I think. I've never used it. Not everyone was thrilled. Missouri State Senator Bill Eigel said on Twitter, as the father of a daughter, I'm horrified by this. As the father of a daughter, I want my daughter to get pregnant, thank you. Adding that he thinks Rodrigo should be ashamed. Yeah. Teen pregnancy ranks by state 2023. Whoo! God damn. That is significant. Look at that. Sucks they folded any, but I mean, it's still nice to draw attention to it, I suppose. Fuck off. Don't shame me in front of my audience. Fuck you, piece of shit. Jesus. I'm just fucking minding my own business, and the fucking website's like, yeah, fucking lard ass, when was the last time you took a walk? Fuck off. Jesus. Interesting that the Rust Belt has maintained a relatively low level of teen pregnancy, I feel. It really does seem like it's almost a perfect correlation to like rural area and poverty, doesn't it? Right? Maybe. California is at 10%, but you know, Vermont and New Hampshire are both here. They both have a lot of rural, but they're pretty wealthy per capita states, I think. What about sex health curriculum? Rank by that. Sex health curriculum. No, I want to see that. Looks like the numbers are going down across the board, which is good. Except for Montana. Yeah, I want to see the correlation between, like, the sex health curriculum rating. Like, if you go all the way down here. Oh, man. Arkansas doesn't even have a sex health curriculum rating. 85.7% in Mississippi. Louisiana doesn't even have the rating. A lot of these states right here don't. I guess California doesn't either, so I guess it's just not kept in the states. Could also correlate with the black population in the state. There is definitely going to be a pretty big element of that, yeah. Though, keep in mind, I'm not saying that, like, teen pregnancies are a race thing. I think it's a class and religion and access to education thing, but those problems will hit everyone, right? Poverty and education are probably going to be the big ones, you know? Like, a lot of people kind of laugh at the idea of people being, like, people getting knocked up due to education stuff, but you guys, maybe non-Americans don't get this. A lot of young Americans believe insane shit about sex. Like, a lot of, like, in religious environments or with really poor education or with, like, a very patriarchal or conservative family structure, you will hear the wildest shit. You will hear, like, the girl can't get pregnant unless she orgasms. You'll hear that you won't get pregnant as long as you stand up afterwards, so the cum drips out of you. You'll hear, like, the girl won't get pregnant as long as they do some other weird archaic thing, like eat a bunch of salt after. You'll hear fuck, I thought for a decent portion of me being in high school that pre-cum couldn't get people pregnant, which is like, you know, extremely loud and correct buzzer. Pre-cum itself can't, but there's still sperm in your urethra that gets carried out in the pre-cum. So functionally it can, you know, like it's not. In high school, a lot of guys believe that, like, generally. Yeah. It's legitimately not that uncommon for American kids to believe kissing is the only way to get pregnant because dumbass parents are like, oh, babies are when two people love each other and kiss. Yeah, that literally happens, you know? It's all just a bunch of stuff like that, you know, all together. No kidding, Radfucker, yeah. I'm sorry, Anarcho Union first. I believed that for a while as well, Vosh. Yeah, I knew a girl in high school that believed that. Yeah, I'm telling you, you know? It's fucking crazy. I mean, when should they be taught the real thing? That pregnancy happens with the sperm in the goop? Like 5th grade, which is the standard age of basic sex ed for me and for a lot of Americans. 5th grade, the 5th grade sex ed is when the teacher says, look, if you do this, that's how babies are made. And then like older sex ed at 8th or 9th or whatever, I don't know, fucking whenever then, is when they say, okay, dipshits, all right, you know about all this information we told you? All right, now let's tell you more, you know, like more complicated shit, basically. It's like 2-tiered sex ed. I mean, it varies state by state, so. Are you familiar with Roe v. Bro? She goes around asking guys questions. Well, oh, wait, hold on. Oh, shit. This is good content. I know it's originally on TikTok, but I hate using TikTok.
Why are there different sizes of tampons?
Can I curse on here? Yeah. Different size pussies?
We're at the March for Life for another episode of Roe v. Bros, a game show where we find out how much men know about women's bodies. How much blood do women lose on their period, on average?
Bucket?
I think it's like a gallon of blood.
Okay, I was kidding, but you know. Hey, I'll tell you, hey fellas, they certainly act like it's a gallon of blood, huh? that's where they're always bitching about it. Ah, you get me. You get me.
I'd assume probably like a shitload of blood.
Which is more sensitive, the clitoris or the penis?
Penis. Penis for sure, yeah. I'm gonna go with penis.
Dude, how do you have a mustache like that and not know a lot about the clit? Isn't this the mustache that people shave when they think they're sex gods?
Penis.
Gotcha. How much paid leave do new mothers get?
Maybe 3-4 months, depending on where they work.
What is a period?
Blood.
You're feeling pretty good about this, aren't you?
I know 100% about women's bodies.
We'll see. Can you pee with a tampon in?
No. You can.
Can you pee with a tampon in?
You can, but it's gonna hurt.
These guys, they subscribe to a Hazite thought with the number of holes that a woman has.
No, I don't think so. That'd be kind of... Isn't that kind of unhealthy, though? Because it's inside you and you're peeing in it?
Can you poop with a tampon in?
No?
How do you...
Going number 2 with that in you? I'd say no.
Did you have sex ed in school?
Yeah.
Did you have sex ed in school?
Yes, we did.
Did you have sex ed in school?
Yes.
With those answers in mind, clearly there's more work to be done.
Jesus, fuck, yeah. Wait, this is actually very entertaining. One more. Walmart brand Lacy Green. Didn't Lacy Green become Walmart brand Lacy Green? Rate her suit. Oh, I wasn't even looking at her suit. I can, yeah.
How long do women have to wait after giving birth before they can have sex?
I mean, it just depends how much pain they want to endure. I think, you know, I think.
Well, wait, hold on. Technically, his answer is correct, right? Like, it's if you want to get technical about it, he's not wrong. It's just,
Think 1 second. Fuck. The real answer is 1 second, right?
yeah, exactly. He's like, yeah, you know, it depends on how good your girl is, honestly. Yeah, you know.
We're here for another episode of Roe v. Bros.
The problem with rating women's pantsuits is that they're constructed to very different standards to high-quality men's suits. The reason for this is because the way suit jackets are constructed, the process that is used to give curves to the fabric is very difficult because you're layering a bunch of different materials on top of one another, and that for a blazer to achieve that outward curve to accommodate breasts, like, it's not impossible, but it's difficult. And since there are different breast sizes, like, for basically every chick, you know, it's like going to be so expensive to custom tailor that properly. So for that reason, pantsuits tend to be relatively unstructured, and I think they look bad in comparison to men's suits, which is why they're also a lot cheaper usually. But, you know.
Episode of Roe v. Bros.
I think that hers looks nice for a pantsuit, but we're operating on different standards here.
Today, we're going to find out how much men know about childbirth. What is the biggest baby to ever be delivered?
Let's go with 6.8 pounds.
22 pounds. Okay, I wouldn't have gotten this right, you know.
I don't know, like 7 pounds. Like, no, not 7 pounds, right? That too much or too little?
It's 22 pounds.
Oh my god. Oh my fucking god.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Aren't they usually like 16? I think it's like 10-ish, right? Around like maybe less, like 8, 9, 10, like that, right? Around 7 to 8. Okay. Yeah. I think I was 9. I think I was 9. I think, yeah, more or less.
Guess how much blood women lose during a C-section and tell.
C-section? Well, I don't know. Okay. C-section. Like a lot. Like C-sections are, you're going in. You're going in, you know, that's. But how much do you lose though, right? Because the abdomen doesn't, it's not like a neck vein where the blood spurts out or whatever, right? Like, you know, you open it up and a lot of the blood's just swimming around in there. I don't really know much about how surgery works.
Tell us when to stop.
All right, well, commit to the bit.
Stop. Stop.
That is a lot of blood. I didn't think you could lose this much blood and survive, to be honest.
What does a C and C-section
1 to 2 liters. Sheesh. All right.
stand for?
Cystoral?
Cut sections, because they're cutting.
Something like that. Your dad's a doctor, bro. Like, come on. It has to run in the blood or something. Oh! Oh, wait, no.
I was a C-section baby. I feel like I should know this.
I was going to say clavicle, but that's like this. That's this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, it's not. It's not that.
With those answers in mind, clearly there's more work to be done.
Oh, this was a harder trivia one. This was like a challenge run. Here, wait, one more. I'm a sucker for this stuff, you know.
Can you show us with your hands how to insert?
Oh, we don't have music. This is like an early one. We don't have the jazzy music.
Tampon.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And then
Could be a doctor.
welcome to another episode of Roe v. Bros, the game show where we find out how much men know about women's bodies. All right, so we're gonna let you
guy who thinks they put it in sideways, you know.
choose on the board our first question.
Let's go with sex.
How long do you have to wait after birth until you can have sex?
Maybe leaving the hospital.
These guys are very ambitious. It's very funny But at the same time, I do feel bad because I know that like a lot of women actually are pressured for sex after giving birth, you know? Like, like their husbands get antsy or whatever because they're not fucking. Which, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty common, unfortunately. It's pretty weird. I don't know. Wouldn't the doctor tell them not to? Well, yeah, sure, but that doesn't make them less horny or, like, rude. I don't know.
So immediately.
Pretty much.
Okay. Great. How much blood is there for the average period?
Gee, I'm not really good with measurements.
Rocky? Do you have anything to say on the husband stitch? A type of stitch after giving birth called the husband stitch? Oh, like they rip the pussy because they fuck? I don't know, man. That just sounds like, pardon me, sorry for being literally like the best boyfriend ever, but if my partner gave birth, I would simply not have sex with them right afterwards. You know? I am that good. Thank you. Yeah. Also, whenever I hear about that, it just makes me think like, okay, assume the wife even wants to have sex at all, right? And, you know, she's just gone through about as much physical trauma as you can go through without being, I don't know, bludgeoned with No, Vosh, it's the doctor makes it tighter with an extra stitch for the husband, so she's not ruined by birth. It's much worse. Oh, to like make the pussy tighter after or something? It's like getting like an extra like cosmetic bit. So what would that mean, that it heals tighter than it was before, or the point would be that it heals to the same diameter that it was before you gave birth? It's apparently super painful usually. Call me a saint, which I am, but I would actually not ask for that. First of all, listen, day to day in my life, folks, okay? I don't need people to be tighter, you know? I'm just saying, if anything, it's an issue for me. But also, that seems uncomfortable, yeah. You're a saint? I know. It's to make it smaller than before. Yeah, I don't... Like, even if I had a partner who was interested in sex after giving birth, which, guys, I don't know, like, pardon me for getting a little blue collar here, but if I've taken like a giant shit after Thanksgiving, I don't think I would want to have sex after that. And I think giving birth to a baby is like at least 3 giant Thanksgiving shits. So I really don't fault anyone. You know, it just seems like a lot. But like at the same time, couldn't you just do oral? Like if you wanted to, I mean. Like this seems like a solvable problem. Or masturbate. No, I'm saying if the chick did want to fuck around after giving birth. That's what, like, in the condition that she was interested. I don't know. This seems like a skill issue. One of the reasons why no sex after giving birth is because the placenta detaches from the uterus and causes a dinner plate-sized open wound in the uterus. Huh. Really is a miracle that people with wombs can survive all this. You know, I have to say, it seems like basically every other mammal is like they get pregnant and they get like a little larger and then they shit out like 8 little babies that will be walking around in 2 minutes. And then with humans, it's like, actually, no, you just die one in 5 times without medical care. And the baby's fucking useless forever, basically. Yeah, we're the 5 heads of the animal kingdom.
Like wait, a quart is smaller than a pint?
Yes.
I would imagine a new tampon every day. So each day of the period.
Okay. Why are there different sizes of tampons?
Because there are different sizes of vaginas, I imagine.
Are you registered to vote?
Yes.
Are you registered to vote?
I'm registered to vote.
Are you registered to vote?
Yes.
Don't let man brains outvote women in the upcoming election. Vote November 8th.
I don't know. I find these cute. Ayo, girl, what size pussy you wear? Well, a lot of guys don't ever interact with, like, dry pussies, right? So they don't know that if you're not wet, a pussy is like, you can't get anything in there, basically. It like if they're not, unless they're like, unless they be fucking, you know, it's like you know, like there's no size issue. That's not an issue. Do you know what a cervix is or does? A cervix is the thing that if you hit it really hard, you feel good, but then the girl gets a tummy ache and tells you to stop, and you're like, "Ooh, my bad. Guess my magnum dong is too machine." I'm sorry. Almost unmodded myself. Sorry. Sorry. I know people get weird about this, but I don't know, man. I feel like everyone should just get a C-section. It's probably more expensive, right? But like, it seems like you can save yourself so much trouble by just getting a C-section. They're pretty safe these days, aren't they? It seems like there are so many complications with birth. No? They're not? Lots more trauma? Really? I remember hearing it was the opposite, that in a lot of cases, it's less traumatic. I guess the doctor would recommend it if it's surgery. Well, okay, it is surgery. In fairness, however, giving birth, also a little like surgery in the sense that your innards are violently rearranged and you lose a lot of blood. So there's, you know, it's very much, you know, you lose dynamic. Ladies, remember to outvote Vosh. What did I do? Except the body is designed to give birth. Yeah, but like, without medical intervention, isn't childbirth like a 1 in 10 death rate? Or 9 in 10 survival? Right? That's crazy. 10% chance of death with no medical intervention, and you only give birth to one baby at a time, on average, you know, 1.2 or whatever the, yeah. So that is a wildly bad process. Yeah, when they patch in the womb, it's shit broken as fuck. No kidding, Mistress Lane. Well, hey, you had medical intervention, I hope. Yeah. Men pee every day and you don't hear us complaining about performing? What the fuck are you talking? Whatever you're talking about, you're cooking, though. For the record, I've done this thing where I ask cocky bitches where semen is produced, and they say the testicles, which is wrong. Yeah, they always get that wrong. Semen is produced in the prostate. The testicles produce the sperm, right? Which is whenever if ever you're like watching or like looking at furry porn, where there's like a big, you know, like hung lizard man with a 2-foot dick, and it's like, oh, his balls are big, he's gonna come a lot. No, you idiot. That just means that his cum will be suffuse with sperm. In reality, his enlarged prostate will be why he comes a lot. And then you see he's got like sort of like a giant third ball bulge in the taint between his legs that's forcing his legs to stand wide, and that's where all the cum comes from. Mm-hmm. Hey, Vosh, just rejoined. What are we talking about? Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's okay. Vosh, my dad is watching. That's your fault. C-section delivery. Graphic. Is this graphic? Now, this seems like a lot. Pretty wild. Is that why estrogen shrinks your balls and makes you infertile? Yes. All right, I gotta pee real quick. You know who's been a very good boy all stream? Ruben. He's been up there in the cat tree. Artemy was being a bitch for food. We're giving him and Pigeon a little bit less food for reasons that are probably obvious to anyone who's actually seen them. And Artemy was just like dive bombing vermin while they were still sleeping. Just like sitting, flopping, knocking stuff over, wanted the food. Hours early, too. Yeah, no kidding, Eddie. He's hungry. Ruben. Ooh, big yawn. Get your balls. No. He won't have balls for long. Yeah, I know, McBeardy. Thank you. Yeah, the ball days are numbered. All right, I had one more link here. Oh, I remember this. Fucking. Nah, I don't care to copy this right now. Too much. Turn off adverts during stream on YouTube. Why would I do that? Out of curiosity. Archie Pug. Hey, sell this to me, okay? Let's use a bit of that rhetoric that we care about so much here in this show. Why would I do that? Has it been every 10 minutes? I don't think it's been every 10 minutes. I don't think that's true. No, I don't even have it on the most aggressive setting for ads. I just have it on the normal one. Watch on the site then? I suppose that is an option. Hold on. What the fuck is this? I'm so slow at procuring links. What? What if we played the video when I hit the play video button? Why? Why?
Who am I here with today?
The notorious Conor McGregor.
Actor.
Fighter. Entrepreneur. Booze burning.
And
And a fight.
How much you figure? Don't the handkerchief. How much the handkerchief?
You know, the handkerchief, a solid gold, the pinstripe gold. I'd say all in, I'm about, $75,000 a suit.
$75 for the suit,
It's an August McGregor special. Okay.
Jesus Christ.
And the pinstripe is 18 karat gold.
18 karat gold.
You know, we had to do it big for Hollywood.
Gotta do it big, gotta do it big. I see the watch, though. How much for the watch?
The watch is around $600,000. It's a Jacob & Co. Jacob the Jeweler watch. It's a
I think, you know how they don't pay college athletes anything? I think we should do that for all athletes, actually. I think we need to have some kind of like Grecian honor system where in reality, it's just the glory of triumph that gets them going. We shouldn't let them have money, I feel. To be fair, it's probably a custom suit. Yeah, it's a shit custom suit. Looks like fucking dog shit. Jesus Christ, for that much money? Dog shit. That's what I'm saying. Where? I don't know. I think I'm just going to read donos. The only other stuff that I had would take too long. I don't have time for it. Cats on Meth and Ruby Me, thank you for the tier 1 subs both. I really appreciate that. Jack Derida, thank you for the $10. Appreciate your channel. 8 years being told I'm not a Marxist because I vote had convinced me to reject that I'm a Marxist. Wish sooner that I knew non-tankies exist. Yeah, they really do give the left a bad reputation broadly. Like, it's pretty fucking bad. It's very unfortunate. A Pretty Lover Worm, thank you for the 5. And Lena Lux, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Very, very kind of you. Did I read the donations from the other stream? No, I didn't. Okay, then I'll go back a little bit. Hold on. A Space Whale, thank you for the tier 2 sub. Realized that I've gotten old when I found myself getting excited over a new household appliance. First a stick vacuum, then a steam mop. Nah. I think that, like, it's just... Whatever age you're at, we like cool doodads, and as time goes on, it's less about, like... It becomes more about how useful they are to us, But I think that's cool. I think you can be into that when you're young, too, if you have, like, hobbies. But when you're young, oftentimes it's like, nothing can be useful to you because you don't do anything. Facetious, thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. Really appreciate that. And Sake, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Wiggly Charlie, thank you for the $5. Speaking of furniture, designed this last week and finished the build today for my daughter's room. Feedback? I can't give feedback on fucking furniture. Never mind. Yes, I can. This is sick as shit. Custom made? This is awesome. Oh my god. That looks sick as fuck. Look at that. I love it. Well done. Dad, thank you for the $5. Praxis time, help raise the SSI asset limit. Hasn't been adjusted since the 80s. What is this? SSI savings penalty? This is a little too specific for me to proselytize for it. I would need to look into it. Does this have something to do with old people getting money? Supplemental security insurance. Beneficiary's ability to work and save without jeopardizing their vital assets. Oh, yeah. This is that thing where right now, if you're disabled, you can't benefit from disability benefits if you own more than $2,000 in assets. So if you're disabled and you're trying to save up money, like, better not save more than $2,000. No more shit. Better not have, like, I don't know, a fucking car. No. You have to live like in eternal wretched poverty in order to continue to benefit from it, basically. Yeah, better not have like a gaming PC. It should be like 10K. It shouldn't exist at all. If you're disabled, you should just get the money. Birthday gifts have to be declared. Yeah. Me giving my disabled friends shitty gifts on purpose so they don't get their spending cut. Aricio's the $10. My best friend made a short film about coping with the death of your D&D group. It'd mean a lot if you gave him a shout out. I can't really give a shout out to media that I haven't seen though. Well, that being said, it's a cool concept. Morning is broken omeletto. Oh shit. Oh shit. You're doing stuff out here. Here, I'll link it. Yeah, why not? Statistically speaking, if I link it, at least a few of the people who end up clicking it will think, oh yeah, that's cool. I definitely can't watch it on stream though. James Somerton could never. True. Very true. Nunya, thank you for the very kind $100 donation. I really appreciate that. Hey, Vosh, made it to NL. Already had my first NGB sighting. Thanks to the early streams. Love the fashion arc photos. Okay, I'm blanking right now. NL to me means Northern Lion. NL. What am I? North Larolina. Netherlands? Why would you, a filthy foreigner, use an acronym when talking to an American? Why would you think I know anything? Ridiculous. Already had my first NJB sighting. What does that mean? Loving the fashion arc photos. The photos won't load. What secrets are being kept? Okay, yeah, this has to be the Netherlands because there's public transit and a walkable area. Not just bikes. Oh, wait, you saw not just bikes just casually around? I guess it's not a very large country. Jesus Christ, can you imagine? It's so pretty. Yeah, this is just bikes. I'm glad you're having fun up there. Antifa Private, thanks to the 5. People underestimate just how much social conservatism has fucked knowledge about sex. I got pulled from sex ed, so most of my knowledge is sadly from porn. Yeah. You know, they say porn is a bad teacher of sex education, and that is certainly the case. It might be better than none at all. Maybe you could be like watching a cream pie fetish video, and she's like, "Oh, if you come in me, I'll get pregnant." And you're like writing down a note, "You get pregnant when come in pussy." And then like that can be like the lesson, you know. Better than nothing, I guess. Far Eastern Myth, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Really appreciate it. The band people need to realize they should be subscribed to avoid bans, because then being dumb is money down the drain. Unless you're Benjamin Osake. That's true. Yes, that is true. You need a monetary incentive to not get banned. Exactly. It's the only way. It's definitely a strategy. Bum. Yeah, it's a shame that all of the Netherlands is going to flood the nanosecond the sea levels rise above a given point. It's gonna suck for them. I found it. Fleabag Kitty 404, thank you for the $5. Really appreciate that. Iridescent Kitty and Lavender, thank you for the $2 both. You said the spine's big finger. I'm weeping. The spine is the brain's big finger. Yeah, I stand by it. Thank you. Pack, thank you for the $5. What do I do if Trump wins? I don't want to go to conversion therapy or the death camps. I'm scared. Don't let your fear of a bad future paralyze you today. For literally all of human existence, most humans have lived not knowing whether or not they're going to get like raped and murdered by some marauding gang of bandits or whatever, okay? Do the best you can right now. When I have something to say with regards to like Trump winning or whatever else, I'll say it. In the meantime, just make sure your passport's up to date, live modestly, and save money, okay? That's it. That's my advice. Roman Omen, thank you for the $10. Really appreciate that. New viewer, been learning a lot from your channel. I'm ex-Adam Waff and have been changing my ways for a few years. Here's a couple bucks. Holy shit. God damn. You've rubber banded over to the actual fucking opposite side. Well, sick. The fact that you were able to get out is a testament to our shared humanity, right? I mean, that's fantastic. I'm happy you enjoy my content. It's very, very flattering to know that you find any value in it. No, I got you. I got you. I got you. You look dead. He's so sleepy. You're so sleepy. Wait. Wait, I have an idea. Can I find it? Come on. I know you're sleepy, but you want the string. You want the string. Oh. No, he does not. Oh, now he goes for the string. Fat Produce, thank you for the $2. My cat would not like handling like that. Well, I put a lot of effort into making Artemy and Ruben agreeable to being held upside down and flopped around. They're just he is flopped on top of the string and is now licking his balls with his butt half on the string like he's guarding it. Oh, done with that? All right. They're also just cats with a very good disposition. No, I have Intelligent Donkey. What was I doing? Oh, yes. Sake with the 521 subs. If Dems were actually Giga Chads, they'd be advocating for better required sex ed nationwide. Yeah, it's a politically difficult topic, I feel, because if unless you're like an actual fucking idiot, the idea that, yes, young people should be taught how sex works, obviously, is like such a clearly straightforward position that you would have to be some kind of lunatic or ideologue to disagree with it. But at the same time, it's also one of those things that you don't want to take like a big national affirmative statement on, or like position on, because it just doesn't, because people get weird about stuff like that when it's openly discussed. Americans are just really weird about it, you know? Just really fucking strange behavior. A nation full of strange people. Well, what are you going to do? Move to the Netherlands, I suppose. Where do I send you guys off to? Where do I send you off to? Ba, 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 ba. You know, I feel like I've been oversaturating its channel lately, but I think that Dara generally does pretty excellent cooking streams. You know, they're good. They're good. I think I'll send you over to Dara again. Dara Mgaria? With the cooking streams? Yes, chef? All right, I'm going to send you guys over. I love you all very much. Take care of yourselves. If you're feeling anxious about the future, just remember that you can still cook a tasty meal today, okay? Very, very dungeon meshy lesson here, you know? All right, let me... Hit the button. Hit the button. Hit the... Where's the button? Found it.